your host, Deeg, and I'm here today with Commander Cyrious. What's up, man?
Deeg, how you doing today, sir? Thanks for having me on.
It's an absolute pleasure to link up with you.
Hey,
You are a longtime PlanetSide community leader and YouTuber, and you just really got into the streaming game that I've seen in the last few months, and it's been really fun watching you. So I'm really super glad we were able to make this happen.
awesome, awesome. Yes, it's new and exciting to me, and I'm still trying to figure it out. Uh, Learned plenty of things for you. I'm an aspiring podcaster myself, so
Oh, really?
it's been fun to get into it. Not that I've done one yet, but hey,
What
in the
interests you
future, maybe
about
we can do more of it.
podcasts?
Well, I do like the discussion format's great, right? Playing
Uh-huh.
games is fun, but we all get to play games, and then here's an opportunity where we get to dive a little deeper. So uh,
Yeah.
this is a great place for me to wet my feet in it. So thanks for having me on.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Yeah, I love the podcast format. For a long time, I tortured myself with the negative thought I should really do YouTube content or I should really do something because I have ideas. I want to get something out there, but it never really clicked for me until I sat down with a friend or two and just started talking, and I realized, you know what? If we recorded this and maybe put a little more effort into it, it could be something.
Right.
And then
That's awesome, man.
it's just been a progression of things. And yeah, the conversational format is hugely important, I think. And this is, I don't know. It almost to me is like a great antidote for the times we live in, where I think there's an overemphasis at times, and this is a very broad comment about internet culture and everything, to have like a very headline focused culture, a very tweet focused culture about having small ideas that kind of get repeated 1,000 times. And the podcast is like, nope, these things aren't small. They're not simple. We actually got to talk about it for a couple hours.
Yeah, I 100% agree with him here. I know even when me and Vizzy did our podcast, the AC podcast or whatever, like 4 years ago, I think we had like 4 episodes or something, but they were all like generally an hour to 2 hours long, and they were constantly, even back then, there were comments like, "Oh my God, this long form conversation, blah blah blah." Like everything now has to be basically boiled down to 1 or 2 sentences because people are so fucking stupid, and their attention, they're like, don't give me the shit where people are so busy. Like, people are not that busy. People are artificially self-important and say their time is, everything, but they sit here and they'll watch this fucking video and then they'll be like, oh my God, it's a 2-hour video. It's like, then don't watch it. But it's frustrating when you're someone that tries to like do content and long form discussions on this kind of stuff, because that's like automatically 50% of the comments and shit. But this man is 100% right. Like, it's definitely the way to go, and a lot of people appreciate that. So I don't know.
To explore it properly.
I love it. That's the antidote of the times. That's a brilliant way to say it. I think we're all going to be stealing that soon. So yeah, you're right on, man.
Okay. Well, let's get into it then. So you are before you were Commander Cyrious, you had another name in the PlanetSide community, and you transitioned over to Commander Cyrious. Was that persona like something that you kind of naturally gravitated to, or was that a choice to rebrand? Like, I'm actually working on my own branding right now, so I'm just really curious about this.
Oh, you led with a really good question. Yeah. So
Ah,
for anyone that doesn't know, I am Patty Fathead, and that's probably people have probably know me more in my local server setting as that name, right? I've done Server Smash as that name. When I was just doing all sorts of open platoons, that was the name. A lot of people on my videos are shocked to hear, years later, oh yeah, Patty Fathead, I ran in his platoons. It was awesome. That's who you are. So yeah, it's funny. You know what it is that name it's sort of disappointing. It is left over from World of Warcraft.
I always
a big WoW
intended
guy,
to do
led a
this
guild
one
there, and that I had a torn
fairly
name,
soon
Patty
after I did
Fathead. When I started a new game, I figured I'd keep it
the Rel
and just
interview.
did that.
This
But
is
yeah,
the
when I
other
was
one
doing a YouTube
that I
video,
wanted to do. I'm
that
just gonna
name
knock
was
it. This one's
of
not
no
as long.
interest to me,
This
so I
one's only
came up
2
with
hours.
something
I don't even know if I'll do
just
the whole
a
2
little
hours.
more interesting to me. And when the YouTube sort of took off, all of a sudden more people knew me as Cyrious, and Patty Fathead made no sense at that point. So it was sort of my YouTube forced me into my new name almost.
Gotcha. Yeah, you put on the mask.
Right, right, exactly. So, and some people have been like, "Oh, he's ashamed of that name." No, I love that name. I hope no one forgets it. Please, people still call me Patty or whatever. By all means, call me that. It's weird for me because that's not my name. I just thought it was. But
is that related to the Tauran identity? Cow
exactly.
fat.
Just I don't know. He just seemed like a big funny guy, right? So
yeah.
exactly, it was associated with that, but it has no real meaning to me. So
Yeah. Well, we all
I inherited Cyrious very well.
Yeah. Well, it's a great name, and honestly, I completely relate to it too, because I'll tell you what, I had this moment. It wasn't related to content creation, but I started a new job in tech in I want to say this is 2015. And for years and years and years, since I was 13 years old, I was known as Darth Greg.
Okay.
The most badass name when you're a teenager and you're a Star Wars geek, and maybe you don't know what actually is badass. So that's what I could come up with at the time. So I was Darth Greg for all these years.
Darth
And I
Greg?
got to a point where I started to resent the name a little bit. You become an adult. And
Right.
then I couldn't imagine myself sitting down seriously and playing Overwatch with my coworkers with that name.
Gotcha.
And then I think it was
Couldn't imagine myself sitting down seriously playing Overwatch, and you can end the sentence there.
Overwatch, because Overwatch has in older games, like older shooter games, which is kind of what I did a lot of before that, you can kind of change your name whenever you want. Your identity was kind of more fluid, but the more modern games, they more bring you into kind of choosing one identity and sticking to it. So I chose this name.
Gotcha. Well, for the record, I still think Darth Greg is badass. So
Well, thank you, Cyrious. I appreciate that, and so does the tiny Darth Greg part of me that's inside.
right. Never forget it. But yes, there's a point where you have to mature past it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. In all things creative, there's a temptation to find the thing that works and just try to keep repeating it. But the thing that actually helps, I think, me grow as a creative person is to always try to respect the things that worked, but always keep moving on to the thing that's next.
You were right on.
And that's why I think it's so cool that you went from being Patty Fathead to being Commander Cyrious, the YouTuber, to being Commander Cyrious, the streamer. And I've watched some of your streams, man. You put in the work. You're fun to watch.
Hey, thanks, man. Yeah, it's amazing what one person can do in their basement, right? Be it your podcast.
Wait. Let me think about that for a second. Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah. With this coronavirus thing, we're seeing all these just mega productions, right? They have millions and millions of dollars at the disposal to put on these productions. And I go and I watch one of those, and then I watch any of these streamers. I'm like, that guy did it better.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy and interesting. So I'm like, yeah, what can I do? I want to push the limits. I want to turn it into an interesting production. I want to bring all sorts of cool, interesting, unique values into it. And I think people that watch streams get it, that, hey, when it's one guy bringing all these things in, that's impressive for some one guy to, I don't know, create something like this. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to push the limits there, just like anyone else.
Yeah, there's a serious one-man band thing that goes on. And the neat thing about it too is that when it's a streamer, most of the time you can assume that whatever you see on that person's stream is an expression from that individual person. You aren't seeing something that was put together by a large number of people who you never get to meet.
A fucking
like,
focus
group. Like when I see your setup, like I know that you're the one who put up those lights. You're the one who arranged your monitors. You're the one who picked the lighting color.
Yep.
I know that is what you chose. That is what Commander Cyrious is. And I think people really like that. They really like the connection, and it's kind of it's been really interesting. This is one of the things that you kind of mentioned to me when we were talking a few days ago about just kind of brainstorming what we might talk about, is how in the times we're in, people are doubling down on the ways that we can find connection through these new mediums. As you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, it is. I was looking through that. I've been watching this Streamlabs blog, and it is just interesting how, yes, the communities are popping up, and the dollars are going to keep following. So as the communities find a way that, yeah, we were talking about how, sure, communities, they watch the show, and then later on they go to the forum or the Reddit or whatever and kind of sort of connect there. But this new medium is just interesting because the community is all there at the same time. They experience the moment live, right? Whatever that Poggers moment is, or that Monka-S, whatever that crazy moment is, they experience it live. They react together live. It's definitely, I don't know, it just brings everyone that much closer, I think,
Yeah. Yeah, you can come together around a stream, around a creator community in a way you can never do around a TV show.
Poggers
exactly
and
right.
Monka-S moments.
You can discuss it after and kind of pick it apart, but it's watching it unfold in the moment is just a completely different experience.
Yeah. And I've watched you, so you're doing the videos, you're doing the streams, you have your community that you run on.
This motherfucker just This motherfucker just chugged that water, dude. Look at this.
come together around a stream, around a creator community.
Connect there. But this new medium is just interesting because the community is all there at the same time. They experience the moment live, right? Whatever that Poggers moment is, or that Monk S, whatever that crazy moment is, they experience it live. They react together live. It's definitely, I don't know, it just brings everyone that much closer, I think,
Yeah. Yeah, you can come around.
Get that fucking water.
Come
Get that water.
together around a stream, around a creator community in a way you can never do around a TV show.
You're exactly right. It's one that you can discuss it after and kind of pick it apart, but it's watching it unfold in the moment is just a completely different experience.
Yeah. And I've watched you, so you're doing the videos, you're doing the streams, you have your community that you run ops with.
Yep.
Your Planetside in-game outfit, the Cyrious Army, I believe is what it's called, right?
Correct. Yep.
That's a lot of things to keep spinning, man. And I know for a fact that you have a different 9 to 5 than streaming. That's something I relate to just a little bit. I don't think I've put as you are busier than I am, and I feel busy. So I want to know, how do you manage it?
Not well. No, it's it's one of those things where as a creator, I'm very fortunate. I have tons of people that have come out to support me, including you. Thanks, by the way, man.
That's right.
And I want to be able to deliver a certain amount for that. I know most people they're just cool. They're just like, here, I like what you're doing. Yeah. Go do a little more. Whereas I beat myself up more that I can't deliver as much as I would like to. But I do feel it's like one of those things where, some people did it and they kind of bought a bunch of lottery tickets, so to speak, and they just went all in. They quit their job, they went all in, and Dr. Disrespect, for example, super successful. But
should never do that, by the way.
For 99% of the creators out there, that's not how it works, right? You've got to try to cram it all in. You've got to keep working away at your main gig. You've got to maintain family life, and you've got to then usually spend till 1 or 2 in the morning sometimes to get those videos. And that's really how I do it. Is just a couple late nights here and there to keep up the videos. And the streams are all thanks to Mrs. Cyrious, giving me a few hours to go stick just to streaming, basically.
Let's give it up to Mrs. Cyrious, y'all.
Right, exactly. Woo-woo. Thanks.
Yeah, that's crucial. Yeah, it's interesting. I think that there's a very different kind of vibe and maybe community, I'm not sure, that you get when someone is, I don't know. This is maybe a bit of an out there idea, but that's kind of what I do. So when I really got started with this whole thing that I'm doing, what really inspired me was an old school gaming community that I used to play an old Half-Life 1 mod with like 18 years ago. We found each other on the internet again a couple years ago, started hanging out, and we went from being, high schoolers and college age kids playing games, which is what you do when you're that age, to being people who have grown up, had careers, adults, families, and maybe gone past those things even, maybe more than one, maybe many, and have found each other again and realized, oh, we still want to come together over this. There's still value here. And I feel like that same kind of more rounded kind of connectivity you can get when it's that, as opposed to, some of these kind of larger communities that are really based around creators who are at the very start of their lives and maybe haven't seen as much life. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a boomer here, but I just think there's, when I watch your streams, I see a guy who I want to get a beer with. And
you guys want to get a beer? I haven't had a drink in like 2 years, by the way, so that's probably not going to work.
It's because I know that you've been through some life. Like you're obviously not just someone who dropped out of college to do this.
Right.
And I mean that
Absolutely.
in a positive way.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, and that's part of the reason I got the canteen in my stream, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm glad that that's what I come off. That's kind of my idea. Is that sure? Let's do some gaming, and then let's sit down as a community, and I'm going to have a beer, and I hope you guys pull up in your own little canteens wherever they may be, and we can all kind of hang out together and chat about it. That's exactly what I'm trying to deliver.
Let's actually show off that canteen. So you sent me some pictures of your setup, courtesy of Mrs. Cyrious, I believe.
Yes, and I was laughing as I sent them to you. It was the first time I viewed them, and I'm, the difference in a video creator where it's all 16:9 and she an Instagrammer where it's all portrait mode. I'm like, oh no, I committed the ultimate sin. But yes, there it is.
Bro, that chair looks like mine. Can't see my chair right now, but looks like my chair. Except my chair has like 6 fucking spokes down here, whereas this is like This is like legitimately old school. This is like a 4 fucking wheel thing here. If you stub your fucking toe on this thing, it's even got the ball rollers with the metal fucking housing on it. If you've ever stubbed your fucking foot on this kind of chair, like, you might as well be in the Civil War getting your fucking leg amputated, because it's the worst feeling.
Is Mrs. Cyrious a gamer too, or does she do her own Instagram thing?
She's down with Mario Kart. She honestly, we kind of both pull to our own games, and she's like, "Babe, why don't you play Mario Kart with me more?" But
Mario Kart,
that's about her
normie
type of game.
gamer.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. I think I managed to get my wife into Animal Crossing for a couple months.
Oh, okay. See, I haven't tried that one yet, but I could see that. That seems like it could be a family hit, or is it still kind of the older generation?
I would make I could make a joke here, but I'm not.
It's a really remarkable game, actually. It's not really something that I'm interested in that much, but I think what's appealing about it is to my wife. She doesn't like games that have a lot of conflict in them.
Okay.
And so, shooters are never going to work. But she does like sitting down and being in like a nice, in a world, maybe receiving a story or kind of, kind of exploring. And Animal Crossing is perfect for that.
Don't worry, PlanetSide is going to have exploring and quests soon, so she'll be able to play with
there's this really intense, like, economic component to that game, where there's a gameplay loop that's defined by you essentially getting loans and then paying them back to this banker guy named Tom Nook.
Oh, wow.
Fuck that.
I don't know. It's very unique.
Interesting.
I hear the Araxians running around.
Yeah, exactly. That's my next project is probably, if I'm going to keep going with my command center basement, I need to upgrade the ceiling insulation. But later project.
Yeah, look, there's always more to do when it comes to
construction.
Yep, exactly.
The tough thing is, where do you actually need to sacrifice sleep? Like, where is it actually worth it? That's what I find.
Right.
So let's see some of these setups that you've, I'm sure, sacrificed some sleep to put into. So here I'm showing.
That's too much green screen, dude.
The canteen setup, I think.
You're exactly right. Yes.
Why do you need a green screen on the floor?
I take half my basement here, and I've made it as green as possible, as you can see.
Yeah.
And
I guess if you move
the back up there, so I can drop in. Do I feel like I'm in the bastion, or I'm not on Indar, wherever I feel like I am for that moment?
Can have like a foreground.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Or something?
I like how you do that on your streams, because you do some gaming, and then at the front and the back you wrap it up. It's like It's like almost like proper storytelling.
It's like almost copying Dr.
Where at the
Disrespect.
start, there's a comfortable build-up and then a comfortable kind of denouement that falls off at the end.
There you go. You're exactly right.
So
it's about pacing, right?
Yeah, totally. So, okay, what else we got? So this is the same thing.
It works.
And yeah, here's the part of your setup that I think you're sitting in right now.
Correct.
Where you have...
yeah, this over here I call the command center. I'm actually... And what I sort of like about PlanetSide, and I've sort of made up my own lore, is I feel like everyone should be in their own
nice
pod
mouse
or whatever,
pad, by the way.
doing their part for Araxis. So everyone should have their own little command center, and we've all got our own setup. I'm lucky. I've had a lot of time to develop mine. So guys are like, "Oh, that's awesome. I wish I was there." Hey, you'll get there. You'll get there to those guys. But that's kind of the idea that we all sit down and then we go do battle out there, right, on the fields of Araxis. So
damn straight. I love that idea. Like the everyone having their own little command center. So you've actually done some. You said your personal lore. I know this is a thing because I think I've seen a video from you where you put a you did like a story video of some kind recently.
You're exactly right. I just kind of infused a little bit. There's a lot of headcanon, what I like to bring up. Remember, folks, there's everyone complains that PlanetSide 2 doesn't have lore, which of course is a bummer. But at the same time, that's an opportunity for everyone to make up their own. In my opinion, just why is Vandu the right faction, and why do you have to defend their honor and fight for them?
Yeah.
So that was kind of my contribution. The story I made up in my head is what's interesting to me and keeps me doing battle. And for some other people, they may not like it. And the original story is rebirthing technology. So maybe they're a soldier that's rebirthed a million times. To me, it's like pick your story and go live it in there.
Yeah, it's like you've really embraced the sandbox nature of PlanetSide.
You're exactly right. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
What would be like an awesome idea is if you had like a big ass collage of rage tells and you had them printed onto your mouse mat. And that was just your mouse mat. So you're playing on your mouse mat of all your rage tells. That'd be a good idea.
Sure, more lore excerpts would be cool, but maybe they back themselves into a corner, or maybe they take away something that made the world awesome to that person. So even though it's a little vague, I think you can fill in the gaps and imagine something awesome.
Yeah, or do it very sparingly, right? Like
absolutely.
A good friend of mine just started streaming, and he showed me a game that I haven't played much of. I should restate this. I have not yet let myself plunge into, which is the Dark Souls, all the Souls games.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you've played them, but they have a very
he's already playing the Dark Souls of FPS games.
But rather than forcing you to go through cutscenes and have you talk to NPCs that have big dialogue trees and listening to people talking at you all the time, Instead, they have little like notes on items that you can read, little letters
Hmm.
lying on the ground that you can pick up and look at, or
Interesting.
or little environmental storytelling cues that if you want to, you can pay attention to them and kind of put the pieces together in your head. But you can also just completely skip them if you want to. And that kind of
Right.
approach,
Okay.
I think, could be really cool. And we're starting to see a little something like that going on in Esamir, aren't we?
You're right on. You're right on. They're the spirit of teasing is alive, right? They're getting those teasers
I
out there.
love it.
Yeah, we did a whole stream dedicated just kind of hunting those things down. So it's yeah, what could be coming?
Could you briefly
Interesting.
summarize for those who are not in the loop?
Yeah. The key places to look are you can look at the northeast warp gate of Esamir.
Mhm.
One of those spires is going to blow up or something. On any settings, you'll see it starting to explode. You can go to the sanctuary and browse out the window, the main window there, and you'll see a storm brewing over Esamir.
I saw that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a pretty cool one going on. And then you can also, if you're just watching Twitter feeds, actually Alan Lapidus, I want to say,
Mhm.
he's I think he's the lead environment artist, or, anyways, he's got some cool little snippets coming out. So it's worth following him on Twitter, and you'll get a few more details from that. So
Yeah.
I can't tell if it's 2 weeks away or if it's 8 months away. I don't know what that one is, but I'm hoping it's closer to the
Good call.
former. But
Yeah, we always hope it's coming soon. I don't know. I like a good tease though.
yeah, absolutely.
You just got to be
Absolutely.
careful about not letting it take too long and let people kind of lose faith that it means anything.
Exactly. It will wear out if you let it run too long.
Yeah.
So
Or to build an expectation that's too high to hit.
there's the other. Yeah, exactly. Set that bar way too high, and then it comes out and it's like, okay, they rearranged one base, and you're like, oh,
Oh, like every single patch this game has ever had.
what was that all about?
Hey, maybe they'll change the Indar and maybe they'll blow up the crown.
Ooh, I never considered anything like that. That would be interesting if a blizzard hit a different continent. That would be really interesting.
Maybe, or
Yeah.
maybe it's all just a long-term tie-in to a big winter event.
Right. Yeah, maybe it doesn't come till Christmas time, really.
Yeah. So I noticed that on your when we connected,
As long as there's a stupid ass implant that comes from the directive quest line.
that you have your location on Skype set to be the crown on Araxis. Is that just like a fun bit of flavor, or do you have some kind of particular affection for that infamous base?
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't miss that opportunity, right? Whenever I think for me, I've got my kind of gamer details, email, website, all that stuff, and I've got my personal one. So whenever you're setting up a account as that, I'm on Araxis, and if they need something more specific, the crown, why not? I remember, I think back to the original crown where it was just, TIL has sort of become the new
Obi
meat
Gamer.
grinder.
Hello,
but
sir.
the crown was the meat grinder, and I don't know. We'll never forget that one, right? So that's why I had to pick that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll go back to it.
Maybe I don't. That was back when it used to be really hard to lock continents.
Mm-hmm.
So we would literally play on Indar for weeks and weeks on end, and there were a lot of crown battles back then.
It's like now.
500 Days of Indar.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So this is a different time for PlanetSide, I feel like. There was a time, especially last year, where my personal, like, I still like playing the game. And I think I told you that, like, for me, PlanetSide's the kind of game that I will play reliably, like, 2 or 3 months out of every single year, no matter what. And I'm always following.
Because there's only like updates worth playing for 2 to maybe 3 months out of the year, and then it's just the same shit.
Even when I'm not playing it, because it's unique and I'm constantly drawn back to it. But last year, I think it was really easy to look at PlanetSide and think nothing is ever going to happen that matters. And if
True.
we had a tease like this that landed this time last year, we would have been like, what the hell? Why are they bothering?
Yep.
There was a feeling, I think, in the community that built up over years of, I would say,
Why is he sitting sideways? Because that's the way cool guys sit.
I don't know, this is a big conversation, but expectations
just
the
sit like
community had
this?
that maybe weren't quite hit. But that's really changed in 2020. And we're seeing now Rogue Planet games come out spit and fire. Like, I, for the first time as a PlanetSide fan, since I started playing PlanetSide 2, more than 5 years ago, I feel like something could happen that I would not expect, that I could not think of.
For sure.
I thought Outfit Wars would never be something that they would ever do, as an example.
And they only did it twice.
Yeah.
So you had a chance to cast Outfit Wars, right?
I did. Yes, it was a lot of fun. It was funny. I think the devs were all excited. They had this big plan, right? And at RPG headquarters, they have a great cast room, right? They got the green screen,
Yep.
they got the desk with the 3 computers, right? They're
Yep.
all ready to go. All of a sudden, they were thrown at home, and they're left like, oh, what do we do? We don't really have cast setups ready to go. We can't. We promised the community we cast, but we couldn't. So I think it was probably always in the back of their heads, and it kind of forced their hand. And I think it played out really well that they basically just handed the whole thing over to the community, right? They let any Faber, Archie,
Yep.
Planetside Battles, everyone associated with that. They let all these guys grab them, and they supported them big time. They hosted them. They gave them.
Damn,
keys
I never
to
got
give
to.
away,
I never got to cast
and
one.
I think it just played out perfectly, letting
that's
the
the way to
community
go.
cast it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping they just keep double down on that and really just find ways to support all the already existing creators to keep casting those events.
Yeah. What kind of relationship do you have with RPG? Do they give you hints about what's coming? Do they throw you keys to give away and stuff like that? How does that work?
Yeah, love hate relationship.
Ah.
No. Great. They have been just stunningly generous, handing out keys, and I was able to hand out a bunch of the Doku packs. So major shout out to RPG.
Oh yeah, those are favorites.
Yeah, exactly. Those are big. So they've just, the transition
Any
really was
Doku
RPG,
pack
right? When
gamers
they were
in the
Daybreak,
chat?
it was all pretty stingy, right? It's like it took me a really long time just to get an observer cam. Just kind of like basic things when I'm pumping out the content. So no, they've really bent over backwards. It's tough as a community. I think we're all kind of in that rough spot where PlanetSide 2 got abandoned. I think probably rightfully so. They made a lot of money with H1Z1. Like if you were the person that was looking at the books and you got this thing over here and you got this thing over here, I can't blame them for putting the devs on the one that's just spitting out dollars, right? And so how do you react? My inclination is to
$100 on
give them the
that?
benefit of the doubt, but there is a point where it's like you gotta stand up for what you're interested in, and that is inevitably going to create lingering animosity, right? They're going to be, I think Rel used the term, the game haunts him, right? It's tough getting berated by the community for things that when he's doing the best he can with the minuscule resources he's given.
I heard at one point that there were only 3 people working on the game, and he was one of those 3.
Yep.
Can you imagine being in front of the community when you only have 2 other people at your back for a game this size?
Yes. He got the ultimate shot, right? The gamer turned dev, but it's got to be bittersweet that you get the shot with no resources to really do anything. And major props.
So what's the excuse now?
That him and a few other guys whipped together the implant system, the rework, made it better, and also that had to kill it in terms of profitability. 3 guys making a system that's just spitting out dollars, and that to me is what even. To me, without that, I don't think Daybreak Games would have ever looked at this game again as something that can make money.
So if a few guys can make a system that can make as much money as the implant system did, then this franchise still has legs and an audience that's willing to pay to keep the game going.
That's exactly how I feel. Yeah, I really think that kept this franchise going here for sure.
Yeah, the implant system I think was very polarizing for a long time, especially in its initial iteration.
Can you imagine?
There are still moments where I see people who are just starting the game going to get their arms around it and realize that there are still some implants that you have to gamble to get.
What the fuck?
And you're
is
right.
that?
I think it's a huge outlier of a problem.
Right, and even in its state, that's such a tough one to solve. Right.
That's my question. Like if you only have 2 other people, what is stopping you from changing like simple shit like values, like all the low hanging stuff that's available to change that they just refuse to do anything about? Like what's the excuse? Why don't you do any of that?
Right, when you have a 7, almost 8-year-old game, and you're trying to make sure the veterans keep playing, but you also are very dependent on new.
Well, that's honestly what Rel says, Billy. It doesn't need to be changed.
New players getting into it. Yeah, man, having such an integral part of the game costs so much to get into. Yes, I don't know how you really fix that one, right?
Yeah.
Without making the veterans feel cheated, because you could make it easier for starting players, right? Double, triple ISO, something like that. Something
or
for the new
selling
players.
perfect implants.
Yeah, that's one way. At least you kick out the loot crate end of it, which is also kind of, that's questionable. So,
yeah, I don't know. Like as a gamer approaching it, like I have a 9 to 5, so I can support.
Yeah, but how doesn't it make them money? If you're adjusting values and fixing things that need to be fixed, and people come back to play the game because they're waiting on stuff like that to get fixed. I mean, if you have people playing the game, I mean, if you have more people playing the game, that's more opportunity for them to buy shit, right? Whereas if you just keep the same like stagnant fucking populations over time, like there's, I mean, you need fresh blood.
I don't have
you need
to play
people
it as a
playing
free
your game
title,
to
which
spend
means
money.
that for me, I jump at the chance to buy a perfect implant to just get carapace on everything. Like that was an easy choice for me to make.
Yeah.
I know not everyone playing this game is in that position, and it being a free to play game, it probably tilts towards the other end of the spectrum. But it's one of
What's the value I would change? I'd get rid of the drop off changes that Rel did in early 2017.
those things where I'm sure
that's
it makes
just
the company a lot of money, but I also think it presents a kind of an image problem.
Actually, it's more than that.
Absolutely. I mean, any of these big titles out there.
So if you want to I actually did a whole video on trying to get the range compression to a point where certain weapons that are quote unquote designed for shorter range engagements, they fall off faster at earlier ranges. Weapons that are designed for longer range shit, they fall off later. So I think the gist of my stuff was the longer range weapons, quote unquote, would always have a two-shot advantage at whatever range that they're supposed to be used at over something, say, like an MSW or something that you can just microburst at any range.
Depend on the masses, right? The masses coming to it. And sure, there's the whales for sure, but they catch a few dollars from just a wide range of people. And that's how they're able to just do so much for the games, right? They just have such a massive income base. So
Yeah.
I don't, it's a tough transition, right? Where could a lot of people are like, well, why does everything cost so much in PlanetSide, right? Could they make the transition to stuff being cheaper where sure, more people would buy it, but then people like you or I that would spend $100 on a bundle, if they no longer have to, they may be cutting their income by making things cheaper. There's a threshold there that is risky to cross.
It's
right?
an English only stream.
And to what extent does having to grind turn people off versus having the ability to grind make people engage?
That's another really key piece of it, right? Because people, they need something to go after, right?
Something to chase.
If there's nothing to chase, yes, you will have more people fading away. So there is a keep people engaged part of the grind.
I haven't been engaged for 4 years. Put something in the game to engage me.
Yeah. Thinking back to when the directive system debuted and they brought out the first, directive weapons, right? That was a huge boost to the existing veteran base because it's like, oh, finally, like, I have something to go for that's going to and not only is it a cool reward and unique.
Most of the directive weapons, when they initially came out, were fucking stupid and dog shit, and they needed changes. And this shit was all tested before it came out, but they don't listen.
But it distinguishes.
That was another regime. That was Higbee and friends.
Distinguishes you from the people who don't put in the effort. I mean,
absolutely.
Over time, less so because.
And actually, not the entire directive system, but a lot of directive chains need to be redone. They need to be refreshed.
Only more and more of those directive weapons are going to go into the wild over time.
Makes sense.
Yep.
But I think that's a good example of that kind of engagement too, and there's no RNG involved.
Absolutely, yeah. The carrot to chase there was huge. I myself, I chase our axioms and directives. That's kind of something that keeps me going on the next weapon. So yeah.
Yeah, but why? For what?
Yes, I think that was a big, brilliant move, right? No loot crates involved, right? You put in the time, you get the reward. That's
it's totally like these people kind of pretend like. I'll use WoW as an example. Like you chase gear and progression for your character to do more. Either you're doing more healing, you're able to mitigate better, you're able to fucking do more damage to generate more threat. Like there's a tangible fucking reward there. Whereas in PlanetSide, you just have a gun that. It's just a different gun. It's like everything. That's the kind of the problem with everything being a side grade. It's just something different. Whereas you're not actually improving your character or gaining any real kind of power in terms of like the infantry game and stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's a good feeling.
That's the free-to-play
it's kind of a lame progression.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
And speaking of having something to go for, I mean, there's just so many places this conversation can go. But I think that.
But no matter what, like casual players, they just grind shit to get it, and they just have it, even if there's no tangible, real benefit to it.
Talking about the directive system, talking about having a reason to log in, something to chase. One of the things that we got teased in a recent dev stream is this new take on the mission system that looks like it might be coming.
Yeah.
I don't have a screenshot handy, but it looks like it's almost a little bit like a battle pass. to some extent, or like a daily quest system.
Yes.
Thought about that much?
Let's see. I didn't see the battle pass end. I was thinking of it as the second, where it was kind of a little more of a daily mission where you could go pick a few up and say, okay, I'm going to kill 10 ESFs or anything like that. I remember one iteration there was potential that you would be able to start quests yourself, right? As a platoon leader, you could say, I need air support here, right? So you could set up a mission of kill 10 tanks in Indar X hex, right? And then that mission would go into the mission system. Some player sitting at the warp gate could grab that one, and then.
So like, my question is, why do you need that? Like, why do you need a mission system to get people incentivized to just play the game? Like, because that's something that would happen normally in the course of playing the game. Why do you need a mission for that?
Then they come support you. So that was an interesting, that was an interesting idea to me. It sounds technically complex to set up. I envision it more being exactly like, yes, this terminal is the quest giver, right? And then you get to go pick up a few quests, get a few extra bonuses if you go from that, and hopefully helps give newer people more directive on what to do, feeling like they have an objective or they have a goal, right? That they really contribute.
Yeah, but even if you tell a new player, kill 10 ESFs, a new player comes in, they have a fucking dumbfire starter rocket launcher. And how they still don't know how to do it, you know? Because then they have to buy like a fucking lock on, or God forbid, like it doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
The battle pass idea, that I did not see that screenshot. Did you see something that
I might be
lent itself
conflating
towards
two different memories that I've had. That could be on me. Regardless, though, I think it's good to know. One of the things that I've always chirped in whenever I think about PlanetSide and things that could do better is
that's the problem. Like, it's something I bring up all the time, Shockers. People desperately want this game to be. They come in with the illusion that it's anything other than what it actually is. Like, it's such a huge problem for this game, and I take a lot of shit for constantly saying this game doesn't attract FPS players. But every conversation that you have and you see take place over this kind of stuff, it's what it boils down to.
To really engage more with the MMO side of its identity. I think that there's actually a surprisingly large overlap between people who gravitate towards playing MMO raids and people who like PlanetSide.
Right.
Which is a problem.
I'm right there with you on that one, actually. That to me is as a past MMO player, that was kind of the most disappointing part of MMOs to me. I like that you get to create a character, right? You become a personality in that server. The most disappointing part is it's all just math, right? Math and RNG. There's not.
He said RGB.
Math and RGB, a little bit of that too.
RGB, yeah, exactly. Plenty of that too, right? RNG, right? Like, it's like, sure, you step out of the fire every now and then, but it's, do you click the right buttons in the right pattern, right? And that's how you maximize your DPS. It's not really, did you hit the head or did you move well? So that was my one take. Whereas PlanetSide to me really starts delivering on that, where you can go do.
He's right in a sense, but there's still room at the top end. Like, I just go back to WoW Classic. Like, there's people that are shit at playing a class. There's people that are not shit at playing the class. There's still a skill gap there. And I've had like, I'll be raiding and Dopey will fucking tell me, Dopey will say, man, I wish I could do more based on like my mechanical ability. It's like, I mean, you are and you aren't. But I think trying to copy and paste that onto just like what PlanetSide 2 is, which it's a fucking FPS game, man. Like, trying to attach some fucking stillborn fetus of an MMO and the mechanics of that onto PlanetSide is a fucking mistake. Like, it's not there. It's not there. Like, you're just hunting for shit that it's not.
Do sort of a massive raid, but it still is you can get out of a tricky situation just on your own skill and wits. So, yeah, I thought.
And with 40 other people.
Right, exactly.
It's actually massive.
It certainly is. And so I do feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to have to do a grind, or I don't want a currency system, right? I don't want to have to auction house. I don't know. I liked all that parts of the community. I would love to see people selling parts up in the sanctuary so someone can build a new gun rather than have to buy a new gun.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, but it's like, if you build a new gun, the game doesn't allow, like, the gun would just be a side grade. It's not like going to the auction house in fucking Orgrimmar and getting materials to fucking craft something that is like a massive upgrade for your character. Like, it's not the same.
like an auction system, like a player run economy.
Well, exactly. Like, I mean, to me, Warframe did their monetization brilliantly, right? Warframe is very much built around people finding parts to create the next frame or the next weapon, right?
Right.
And there's a couple ways to do it. You can grind it,
Let's not have that in this game.
or you can buy it.
Mhm.
And so a lot of people use platinum to buy that stuff. So you can, much like a Plex and Eve, you can buy platinum with real money, or you can earn it in game, and this currency ends up just distributing out through the the natural market that's created.
Could you imagine? Like, think of it this way: imagine the next Battlefield, and imagine the next Battlefield game. Everybody knows that's going to be a fucking complete dog shit game, by the way. It has just they make one change, right? It has unlimited numbers, like PlanetSide. Now, is there any way in fucking hell that they would all of a sudden you wouldn't have this clamor for, oh, we need an in-game auction house, we need player crafting? Like, that would be so fucking weird to hear from that community. But in this community, they're so fucking confused as to what kind of game they're playing. It's just...
And so the players that can't pay, they grind in game and they get it that way. And players that can buy some contribute, sort of pay for the game and spread that money into the system. So I just see an opportunity there to get people more involved, build community, and monetize.
Like, what are you saying? Like, get people more involved. Like, just play the fucking game. Like, I don't need a quest to pick berries on fucking Indar. Like,
as well while they're at it.
Just play the game.
Yeah, I watched your video.
Just fight
about,
people, shoot people. It's
I
not
think
that
we put this, why
complicated.
did
We don't need all
Warframe
this
fail and
extra
PlanetSide
complication.
fail? From a couple years ago, I think.
Yep.
It was a really
It doesn't add anything to the game. Like,
interesting watch because I put a few hundred hours into Warframe myself. And it was a game that I
and that's something, like, all the shit that they're talking about is something that actively would take away from what the game is based on.
really wanted to be. I really wanted to fall in love with.
I think it's just these people are so desperate because they're so fucking terrible at just doing what you're supposed to do in the game, is killing people. They're so bad at doing that they desperately need anything else to do to feel relevant.
But there is some resistance there for me that I don't feel on PlanetSide. I think that I really respect the complex economy that Warframe has. And I completely perceive the mass value it has in terms of bringing people in and accessibility.
Who the fuck plays Warframe? Looked at Warframe and whatever it is on, I don't even know if it's on. I haven't played that game in like 4 fucking years. But like, who looks at that game and is like, "Yep, it's the economy. That's what drew me in." Like, no.
And they also even have, good bits of FOMO where they rotate in these things called prime frames, where you can only acquire them for money for certain amounts of time. And then they...
That's what I'm saying. Like, if I want to go play a fucking economy game, I'll go play Eve. And that's something that I will go play I'll play that game at least once a year, right? I go back. Yes, that's the game you play for fucking this autistic fucking economic spreadsheet simulator stuff. Why does PlanetSide need any of this?
They kind of get put into the player economy,
and no one can give me an answer on that except for some fucking word salad dog shit answer.
A neat little back and forth. But the game, to me, at some point, felt more like I was kind of like logging to the bank every day and exchanging currencies and doing this kind of trading stuff. And if you love that could be good. But there's the payoff for that in a game like Warframe didn't really grab me, because as deep and complex as that game's customization and modding is, at the time that I played it, I didn't perceive any payoff to that customization, because all the Apex content didn't require you to really nerd out on all the details. At least not to the level that I wanted to.
Right.
And again, I was a raider myself. I ran a 40-man raiding guild in Vanilla WoW. Like,
there you go.
I was right there with you. I played an orc though. Sorry. Same
that's okay.
for the horde though. We can agree on that.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Oh, by the way, Cyrious, earlier in this, he mentioned that he played a Tauren, which makes it just makes total sense now.
And
I was right there with you with Warframe. It was huge. It was a phenomena. But I never latched onto it. Is that same thing? It's like and everyone kept saying, well, you can do like 8-man raids at the end, and if you can do like, you can get up to 20 and 40 and 50 waves, and then it really gets serious and all that. And I see that. I just couldn't. That wasn't inspiring enough for me to try to max out to do that stuff.
Yes.
I was like, if it's just a little more of what I'm already doing, that is not
it's
a
not
go fighting
Ragnaros.
yacht. Right, exactly. It's not go fighting a Yogg Saron or something like that.
Oh,
it
yeah,
is
yeah.
right, or Rag, whichever your your pinnacle is, you know. Yeah, just it did not have that vibe for me that at least WoW delivered, and did not compare to kind of the massive sandbox end of PlanetSide. So at the same time, I could vision how for a lot of people, PlanetSide would just be too overwhelming, and Warframe is a nice, succinct.
That's a really good point, honestly, because imagine imagine the fucking absolute struggle apparently that exists for a new player now. And then you're going to add all this, like, I don't understand how we constantly bitch and complain about the new player experience, and all we want to do is just dump system after system after system on top of system, and then expect, you know, fucking someone implementing a chat box into the game to be, like, how's that going to help anything? Like, fuck. Like, apparently this game is way too complicated for most people that come to play it, right? How in the fuck does adding all these systems that just convolute the game and, like, muddy the waters of what the hell the game is trying to be, like, how does that help anything? How does it help that player?
Go do this, I get this reward. And for a lot of people, I think that's what they want in their gaming, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where that video came from, is disappointedly yielding how we're all weird masochists that like being in this endless battle that you're not quite sure who's winning and if it'll ever end. And some people are just like, hey, I want to play for an hour and I want to get a Warframe. And that's what this game delivers, you know?
Yeah. It's a fun comparison because they're both free-to-play games with wildly different levels of success.
Well, you don't have to worry about construction anymore because everybody has orbital fucking strikes and you just kill that shit, so who cares?
Industry like, almost like culture impact.
Best part of the escalation
I don't think
update
has really,
is that I can single-handedly
I don't see a
fire
lot
an
of games out
orbital
there
strike
that are
on some
learning from
fucking
PlanetSide.
retard's construction village and
but
kill
I see
it.
a lot of games out there that are trying to do things that Warframe does well.
Yeah.
Um,
To me, where the one that kind of hit that niche, I was always playing World of Warcraft. I'm like, there needs to be an FPS RPG.
Yeah.
Right? A first-person shooter role-playing game.
No.
And, you know, the Division is kind of there, and Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is the one that really grabbed that niche. I wish Destiny 2 had, you know, I hear raids and they're like, oh, the raid's 8 people, right? I'm like, or is it 4 people now? I haven't played it, but
hey, man, we dip our toes
like,
in the same pools, dude. I tried the Destiny raid scene too. Did you get into it at all?
I've had it sitting on my PC. I don't know if you it's down, but on this screen over here, I've got like 20 games. Right, I'm gonna review all. I'm gonna be a YouTuber. I'm gonna review all these.
Fuck yeah,
nice.
dude.
I can barely keep up with the PlanetSide 2
It's
content.
time consuming, dude. Yeah.
It is exactly. So yeah, I was like, okay, is this the game that's gonna? I want a 25. I want a 40-man raid, right, in an FPS environment. I think that would be epic. And then, you know, okay, well, it's definitely scratching the itch for people, right? Where it's an FPS RPG for sure, but the scale just isn't there enough to really draw me in. I don't know. What was your experience with it?
I found that, oh boy.
Why do you want to add more people to everything? Because the more people you have, the less individual impact one shitty player has on it.
This is going to be a weird thing to describe. I found that the end game of Destiny was a little too plasticky for me.
Okay.
Like, so one of the things I like about PlanetSide, and actually most games that have PvP and build communities, is that the connections you make with people are a little bit more robust. I'm not sure I can really characterize exactly why that is, but almost all the people that I game with over the years are people who I either shot at or shot at other people with over the years. And people that I did WoW raids with, as much as there's that overlap that we talk about, those people haven't stayed in my gamer circle for whatever reason.
Right. Interesting.
So it's almost like a I don't know, like a blood bond or something ridiculous. I don't know.
Right.
But so PlanetSide is great at that.
Absolutely.
Your PlanetSide friends remain people who you game with. At least that's been my experience.
Yep.
And
I see even for, you know, Merc, you know, we're still PlanetSide based, but it is really a gaming group. And everyone some people don't even play PlanetSide anymore, but they play with Merc people in Arma or ESO or whatever the flavor of the month is. The base was the group that formed in PlanetSide, and then you go play all these other ones, you know?
Absolutely.
This is not something new.
I've seen that too to some extent. That dynamic is not there in Destiny. Even though Destiny has a big, like a kind of big-ish PvP scene, it always feels like it's trying to...
Destiny's dog shit. All right, let's just get it out of the way.
To put you into transactional situations where the people you're playing with are just kind of like, they're there. but you're not really working with them. You're
Who wants to play an FPS game with one-hit kill supers? I know I do.
not really cooperating with them. I always found that none of the groups that I joined in Destiny had that kind of connectivity that I look for. And that's the same reason I bounced off of Warframe, too.
Yeah. Oh, that is very interesting. Yeah, the few streams I saw of Destiny was like, I'm sure there is a healer in there, but in general, it was just one guy wrecking things, right? Sure, he had a group, but like everyone was just doing their own thing, killing things, and all together you killed all the monsters, but it didn't feel like there was all that much teamwork really involved.
Well, you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, there are a lot of pieces in Destiny raids, and some of them are pretty challenging. But
Okay.
and the other thing too about Destiny is that the way that its content is designed seems to be either consumed at the level of a weekend warrior once a week.
Can we talk about PlanetSide? Like, can we talk about things that matter to PlanetSide and stop talking about our fantasies for what all these other games do that we want to fucking shoehorn into PlanetSide? Can we talk about PlanetSide, please?
Or a hardcore streamer who's going to be consuming this content to blow it up for the rest of the community. Because they have these really interesting community puzzles that they do, where they put things out and they solve things. And when the community
let's talk about some pressing issues in game design for PlanetSide.
Somewhere in the game, and they go there.
That isn't fucking shoehorning
that streamer can be the first person in the world to see
mechanics from raids and shit.
Which sounds amazing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like opening the gates of Encourage. Like, it's like, oh my god, I want to be there for this.
Nope.
Right.
But it's not,
you're stupid if you want to be there for that, because it's a laggy, unplayable fucking mess.
It's not something that, unless you're that guy, you can only experience it peripherally by watching it on YouTube later, or on Twitch if you're lucky and happen to be there.
Right.
So if you want to actually connect with people and have these shared experiences, that is not an important part of the community dynamic that's being created by that game and Warframe 2 for me. Whereas PlanetSide I come back to because it's your brothers.
Yep, I feel that.
Yeah. PlanetSide's awesome. Okay. So pivoting a little bit, I've been dying to ask you some questions about some videos you've done over the years. Can we do this?
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm an open book.
All right.
Are they gonna do his video that he fucking slandered me for 17 minutes straight?
I'm gonna try to start with the softballs, and we'll work our way up.
Okay, cool.
One of my favorite videos that you did was entitled "The Challenge," and I'm gonna put it on here in the background while we talk about it. Let's see if I can press the right.
I made a response video to this, by the way. Any dumbass B-Wade players in the chat?
Okay. And The Challenge is a video you did as a response to a situation in the community. And what I'm going to do, if you'll indulge me, is read out loud a little bit of poetry you wrote for this video.
Great.
The story is, I can't put it any better than you did, so I'm just going to read it, and it'll take me a minute. So grab a beverage if you're out there listening.
Do it.
The Challenge. And then some people are grug. Grug wants high KPM, kills per minute, high KDR, kill death ratio. That's all that matters. So I'm going to give you the backstory in a manner that Grug can understand. And this is you speaking. I'm obviously repeating what you said. Big Grug wake up on Araxis with big club. Big Grug smash little Grug with big club. Doing this, Big Grug gets big KDR, big KPM. Big Grug likes smashing little Grug. Big Grug shares all his friends how quickly he can smash little Grug. Big Grug feels good about themselves. But little Grugs find a solution. If little Grugs stick together, work as team, big Grugs can't smash them very well. This makes big Grugs sad. Big Grugs want little Grugs to spread out so they can smash them better. Big Grugs make fun of little Grugs for being together. And Commander Grug comes along and says, smashing little Grugs no make you big Grug. Smashing other big Grugs only what make you big Grug. Big Grug gets mad. They say Commander Grug only says that because he can't smash little Grugs fast. So, they challenge Commander Grug to go smash little Grugs even faster than the average big Grug smashed them. And then, when he does that, there's deafening silence and they delete their comments and we're left right here.
Your telling of it is so much better than mine. I love it.
I don't think so. You gotta go back and watch the original. But tell us about this. What was?
Oh, there you are, Conflict. You got fucking slammed by Patty Fathead NC right there. You still here? You got owned. You got put in the clip, dude.
What's going on with this little bit of poetry?
Yeah, here's my thing. Over the years, I
Up, see ya, Zoogie.
appreciate my enemies,
Fucking overpop biolab bitch.
right? Because they are my content. This game depends so heavily on someone else being willing to be on the other side, being the bad guy for me, right? No one in this game thinks they're the bad guy. But if you're fighting the TR and you're fighting Patty Fathead's platoon, Patty Fathead is the bad guy. And if you're playing TR and you're fighting Evil Pig's platoon, that was the leader of 666 Devil Dogs, he's the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So over the years, the tendency is for people to cry out and to hate, that outfit, right? That outfit that has too many members, that outfit that does this, that outfit that does this.
Too many maxes.
Right, exactly. So my
Time to gloss over the existential problems of the fucking game's balancing mechanics.
frustration is when people they look at the other side and they don't see themselves in it, and they see someone else that's worse or doesn't play it right. I saw what I considered friends, acquaintances, just really get dissed. People that are just trying to bring the battle to me on the other side get dissed a lot. So my natural inclination is to stand up for them and is to explain, well, hey, be grateful that you have such great shooter skill that you can farm these less skilled players at 3 kpm, 4 kpm, whatever you're going to be able to do it at. But you wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't them. And there needs to be a way for them to have fun in this game too. Mm-hmm. And the way a lot of those players can have fun is being epic platoon crashing across our axis. And sure, maybe the battles for some bases are unfair, but eventually they're going to hit a biolab or a tower, and it's probably going to swing in the other faction's direction. So I didn't see a reason to hate on them. So that's why I've always kind of been in their corner.
The little grub.
You're in their corner because you are literally the figurehead for that playstyle. You fucked hard.
Corner. The little Grug's corner, right? My claim to fame is videos explaining how I think we could avoid Zerging, how we could improve it in the game. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, while it's here, don't hate the little Grug, hate the game, right? Mm-hmm. They're just trying to find a way to have fun in the game. You find your way to have fun. I know that's farming little Grug, great, but don't hate on them. Mm-hmm. And so I think, the first inclination of those players would be like, oh, well, Cyrious, he's just another little Grug, he can't do it. Because I spend most of my time running open platoons and trying to create content for these people, right?
But you just don't understand because you're not able. Yeah.
Exactly. But if I want to go out and farm little Grugs, every now and then I'll go out and farm little Grugs. I'm not the greatest planet-side player ever, but I can farm just like the rest of them. So there's a little bit of confusion there that I had to kind of drop the mic and clear that up for a second.
He dropped the mic, bro.
Set it straight.
So yeah, that was fun. I was way too hard on B-Way, but unfortunately,
no, you weren't. They're fucking idiots, man.
Unbeknownst to them, really, a few of their members were really the ones that were leading the charge. So. As a content creator, I expect to get focused, right? Mm-hmm. Rel did, anyone did. You're gonna get thrown under the bus.
That's because all the content creators for this game are fucking morons.
And I think a lot of content creators, their move is to just be diplomatic. And I'm a guy that's gonna swing back. People can take swipes at me, but I am in a position where I get to hit really hard, and I will swing back for.
No, you're not.
Better or worse. Some people are going to leave and say, "Cyrious, I don't like your response," and I understand that. Totally entitled to that. I'm on the other side where it's like if someone's going to confront me, I'm going to swing right back.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to negotiate, I imagine, because being in the position you're in, you have to measure your response with that position in mind, right?
Let's give Rel a quick shout out in chat as we go on. How you doing, man? Rel, we were chatting about you a little bit earlier. We didn't envy your position of coming in and having the ultimate, right? The gamer turned dev, yet coming into a position where you have to save something with 0 resources. And I don't think anyone else could have done it, to be honest. So anyways, props. Carry on, Deeg.
Yeah, awesome to have Rel here listening in. And yeah, definitely. So, I mean, you guys both, Commander, you and Rel also here in the chat, you guys both understand that even though you may have certain feelings about the way certain people are acting, communicating, behaving, that you can't necessarily react in the same way that you're getting the feedback, right? Because being in the position you're in, you have certain responsibilities, and the words that you say reflect in a certain way upon the game and the community too. And I've always really respected Cyrious, the way that you have not pulled your punches, but at the same time,
Okay, now do the video he did on me, and then we'll talk about that.
Not quite stooped, if you know what I'm saying.
Or it's completely
I do.
bullshit.
It's a tough balance, right? And every content creator finds their balance. And I'm not going to judge whose is better. Mine's certainly not the best, but it is, you know, some people want to be a little more hard-nosed about it. Some people are a little bit more, they're generalists, and they're not.
Some people are just fucking honest, and some people are just full of shit. That's basically what it boils down to.
Not really going to go focus on anyone.
Yeah, Mukas is a creator now. He has fucking elevated in the astral plane with his self-consciousness, and you guys need to not fucking... He can fuck you up, all right? With his device and mechanics.
That's generally the more popular position to take. But
What's the
in the
safer
end,
position? Right?
well, for sure. In the end, you got to be true to yourself. And some people are going to see through it, and they're going to be like, okay, I understand what he's responding to. And some people are going to be like, that's not my bag. And then they go on. And I totally respect that, right? Everyone's going to kind of fall into their own niche and what they like, you know?
One thing's for sure, I will never forget the epic of the Grug, of the little Grug, of Commander Grug.
Right. And you know what, to be honest, I consider myself a raindrop in that whole thing, but I feel like everyone in the community has gotten better from top to bottom. I think bottom has been better about not hackusating. I've been kicked out of platoons. You know, people see me as the guy that only goes and I'm the white knight of the little Grug. I've been kicked out of platoons because I walked into a hackusating session, right? Where a whole platoon is complaining about 3 guys from that, whatever that epic outfit is. And every time they say, no, you're wrong. I just completely shut them down. Everyone can picture Commander Cyrious doing that. Very similar to the challenge mode. No, he's not hacking. No, he's legit. No, Drew did not hand hacks out to recursion or whatever that episode was, right? If there's something I know, I'm going to come at you about it. It's a player that has tweaked his settings, tweaked his mouse, tweaked his desk. He's done everything. He has worked himself into this precision killing machine. And for someone to discard all that and call him a hacker, I understand. I understand the big Grug side, that it's unfair to them to all the hard work, put it as nothing. He's hacking, right? So I can understand that side too. And I've been kicked out of plenty of open platoons for trying to convince people that, hey, no, they're just that good.
Yeah. I think that there's a kind of a metaphor.
I'm not doing the Mukas shit,
people see when they don't understand something in the game that happens. And you know, maybe in the real world you would look at something unexplainable and say it's magic or it's God or it's, you know, insert whatever structure from your belief system makes sense. But in a video game, the answer is cheating.
Absolutely.
Or exploitation or pay to win is another one too.
Yep.
Especially for free-to-play games like PlanetSide. And it's a tough balance. And I feel like there's no game that's more likely to confuse people about outcomes than a game like PlanetSide, which is it's not the fastest time to kill out there of games, but it's
not by a fucking long shot.
It's faster than many.
What?
And it's also MMO sized. So and it's a huge sandbox. You know
what FPS game currently has 13 body shot time to kill? Besides like Division or something. Hello?
Not in a 6v6.
Am I missing an entire genre of games?
Right.
In a 600 versus 600 scenario, you could get sniped from across the map. You could get bombed from someone above you. You could get taken out by your own idiotic teammate shooting a jackhammer. Right. There are so many ways to die in PlanetSide.
Yep.
And the role of client-side hit detection is something that is so hard.
Why are people so confused by client-side hit detection? Like, why is this some magical beast that people... this has got to be the shit that this game just attracts people who have never played FPS games before. This is not something new. Like, this shit has been around for fucking ever. And it's not... like, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is the fascination? Like, every time somebody posts about, I'm getting shot around a wall, like, you have to have some guy come in and deliver his fucking thesis on client-side hit detection like it's some kind of fucking unicorn. Like, you're just dumb. You're just ignorant.
Most to understand. And
it's not that complicated.
Even to the extent that I still see
a guy on his screen sees you on his screen in a certain way, and that's communicated to the fucking server, and it's different from what happens in the game. What fucking FPS game is one-to-one exactly what fucking everyone else is seeing? Like, what game are you playing that's like that?
Great players who know better rage against it.
That's networked.
Yep.
And, you know, me too. And, you know, we all need to find our little things to hang our hat on.
That's for the host, baby.
My fault sometimes.
Right.
Bullshit.
Well, PlanetSide is especially unique because what's worse is PlanetSide's TTK is as low as other games if you're good, right? And you hit the head. Whereas
only if you hit every shot as a headshot.
Everyone else, they're used to being able to get the drop on someone, dump a few body shots into them in Warzone or whatever, and get the kill.
Warzone, I think Warzone has a little bit higher. Warzone compared to like most Call of Duty games, like in Warzone, it takes a few more bullets to kill people. I don't think that's right.
Whereas PlanetSide, if you dump a few body shots into someone, all they're going to do is juke and headshot you. So it's all the more perplexing into that it feels like the TTK for that good player is so short, and your TTK feels forever. I mean, you'll dump a whole mag towards someone.
So the solution is to get better.
And first they miss half their shots. Second, they're shooting from too far away. Third, they're hip firing or whatever. So the disparity feels all the worse because you feel like your time to kill is so much lower. I don't know how you solve that without ruining the gunplay, but
yeah,
it's just.
I was just gonna say, is it a
I know how to solve it without ruining the gunplay. You fucking get better at the goddamn game, fucking boomer.
problem that should even be solved? It seems like it's like a blade that cuts both ways.
Absolutely.
And the way we were describing is when it cuts back at you, right? But the way it cuts in your favor is that you actually have a lot of creative ways to play the game.
Yeah, you have a lot of low skill ways to kill the guy that's fucking forehead shotting you. You have like 70 alternatives to fucking insta-gib this guy. It's not like you're locked out of doing basically anything.
Absolutely.
If there's someone who's better than you, thanks to the magic of PlanetSide and the brain dead developers that we have, you can easily fucking kill him with a max, a shotgun. You can rocket primary him. You can fucking snipe him in the head one time. Like the list goes on and on.
And you actually have a lot of autonomy, right?
Right. It is one of those things that if you solved it for the new players, you'd ruin it for the veteran players. You know, there is no right answer there, right? New players just have to take your lumps and you have to try to guide them over that hill, basically.
Yes, which is generally not what you seem to tell people what they should be doing.
And that's
no. Go ahead.
Kind of some of my more successful videos. The ones that I get the most like, hey, thanks for that video, Cyrious, is the one that explains that to people, right? Where they start understanding, okay, I get it now. This is the difference. It's not magic, right? I love your description there. It's not magic. It's not religion.
You don't see good players calling against removing nanoweave? I see a lot of quote unquote good players who are intellectually dishonest that want to keep it in the game because of this disparity that it creates for them. But I think most people that can think for themselves and are actually intellectually fucking honest about the problem realize that it is a problem. And if you generally care about game balance, that it's a fucking problem. Now, of course, you always have people in a game that want to keep things the way they are because, you know, we have 8 years of the same thing and it's good for them, right? But, you know, this is all besides the point of someone having to learn the game. It's different when you have to learn the game and there's a handicap like that, which it is a handicap. Yes, you're rewarded for a headshot. That's great, but you're rewarded too much.
Whatever.
That's it.
It's they've got the mechanics down, and then someone starts to, it dawns on them, what are the mechanics that they can leverage or
disparity would still exist without nano. You're right, except it wouldn't be as fucking drastic as it is. That's the point.
Or the mechanics that are being leveraged against them to deliver those things.
So as long as we're on the topic
and that's not an argument against it. I'm sorry.
Of not understanding what's going on around you when you're playing PlanetSide, I want to take this discussion back to another fun controversy that you put yourself into. Which is the reaction to the Mandalore gaming review of Planet.
Are we still talking about the Mandalore gaming video? Am I drinking from he's drinking from a yeah, that's a mason jar.
A few years
He's
back.
drinking water out of a mason jar, bro.
I'll never forget that scenario because in many ways, watching his video and watching your response was one of the more emblematic
you drink
creator events to show off
hard
this
ass
great
fucking
schism on
alcohol
PlanetSide between the newbies who
out
want
of
to
a
play
mason
a
jar.
really cool looking sci-fi MMO shooter and the big grugs who
everything I've ever drank out of a fucking mason jar is like basically gasoline.
have 250 frames per second, know what they're doing, they turn mouse acceleration off,
But you can't have that.
and they aim for the head.
Yep.
I wonder if
Why do you dislike this guy on the left, Kev Looney? Are you body shaming?
all this time later, maybe you could walk us through just for a quick moment, how you came to the process of creating that video response to Mandalore, and maybe what you were thinking when you were first seeing what he was doing.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. And it's funny that that's another video that it's like, I, I think most people see me as a generally chill guy, and then all of a sudden I lash out, and they're like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" type of thing. And I'm like, part of it's clickbait. It was funny. I was on Morphologist's stream the other day, and he said it really well about Star Citizen. Star Citizen, it was the same exact thing. He's like, you know what? Hate click videos are so easy because that is most of the viewer population, right? They've moved on. They're always moving to the new hotness, and be it Star Citizen or PlanetSide, it's left in the dust. And the reason they didn't stick with it, like everyone else, is obviously the game's fault, right? It's something wrong with the game that they didn't latch onto it.
True.
And so when you move past those, you have a massive, there's been over 10,000 characters created. I don't know how many counts in PlanetSide. You have a massive viewer base. Much more people would rather watch a hate click video than
It's true.
I love
everybody
right?
here in the stream right
there's
now.
only however many active players.
There's more former players than there are current players.
Right, exactly. So Morphologist put it really well that it's, if you want views, making a video that's going to tear something down is how you're going to get the views. And then going into how do you stop a giant, right? How do you stop it? That video was the #1 video that came up for PlanetSide for over a year.
Yeah.
It's the giant. If someone wants to go to YouTube and watch a video, they're going to say, this game sucks and I shouldn't try it.
True.
And so I wanted to have a rebuttal out there. Well, what is the tone of the rebuttal? Is the tone toxic? Is it too far? Probably. At the same time, that's one of the videos that I've gotten one of the most thank yous for. Like, Cyrious, you said it right. You said it true. You set this game I love where it's supposed to be. And how do you do it? Because the generalists on YouTube are going to rise.
I don't hate PS2. I just hate the content creators and the developers for it. That's all.
So they are going to get the most eyes, right? Because they are going to go from game to game to game. And so they are going to find eyes from every community. And if you are just a person in a single community, you will never get that many eyes on your video. So I don't know how you try to combat the giant. I hope most people that watch that one also watch my follow-up video that had to do with kind of weathering the storm. And that kind of sort of clarified why I felt it was important to set the record straight on a lot of those, what were really misconceptions of a player that hadn't put enough time in.
And that's what I do. That's what I do to your videos. Serious.
That's rough. One of the things that I always watch for whenever I take in a gaming review of some kind, whether it's a written review or a YouTube review or just someone giving their impressions on a stream, is try to understand how much they've actually invested themselves into the experience. Because the nature of a game is that you experience friction for some outcome. I mean, that's even the way the game of life is played, right? You have to beat something to get the win. And if you don't push past a certain level of inertia in a game, you don't understand what's good about it. And that's the impression you get from the Mandalore video.
Right.
And, I don't want to guess anyone's intentions, but to your point about the tearing things down, there was a clear tendency in my mind to search for places to give the game body blows. To search for faults.
Right.
And there's a lot of little things, like honestly complaining about camo.
Yeah.
Come on.
Right. In a world where we've moved on to cosmetics are the monetization.
Yeah. And I could tell in your response that you were riled up, and you were a proper voice for the PlanetSide community in that, I think. And it doesn't surprise me at all that you got so many positive responses from that community. So I'm just glad. I'm glad someone did it, and I think you did as good a job as anyone could have asked for a community voice to step up and have something in there. And
great job,
even
man.
though that Mandalore video is still way up there, at least people look at it and see, oh, it's 3 years old or however old it is.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and I appreciate that, man. Thank you. And what plain devil's advocate, it's kind of like, well, does my response matter? Really isn't. That will be the experience of new players that don't get over that hill. So does it even matter if veteran players have a different experience?
Am I ready for tomorrow? I've been ready for tomorrow since
maybe
Sunday.
It doesn't matter if the truth is different. If all a player coming into the game gets to see that end of it, why does it matter?
I was ready for tonight and tomorrow.
Does the game have to change and fix itself before we can?
Because I'm not a fucking gamer dad. They can't get world buffs.
Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say? Maybe my veteran experience doesn't really get a voice in the new player experience to an extent.
I mean, the unfortunate thing is you don't get to understand the game until you're a veteran. And unless you
fucking
understand
bug
the game, you can't advocate for the experience at all.
Right.
Nobody
come
gives
in
a
and
fuck
say, what I
about
want
a
is the
bug
ability to
mount.
unlock guns faster. And we both know but that doesn't matter. Guns
For
are
sure.
a you have a great video out there that says don't put your first certs into buying a gun.
Right. Right.
You put that, you're the person at you're the tip of the spear on that message.
I'm not going to talk.
Hey, just so you wow people know, guess what race Serious Gaming played. I mean, it explains everything. Just guess what race he played. Yeah, Taran, of course.
Talk to you. I'm going to yell at you.
Sometimes you gotta.
It all
That's the
makes
video,
sense
yep.
now.
Yeah, it is a really good one and really appropriate for this community. I think that so there's a really great crowdfunded reviewer out there, Danny O'Dwyer, who does fantastic development documentaries for games. His channel's called No Clip. He's huge. He's great. He did a great multi-part documentary on Warframe. And
Why are we talking about Warframe again?
Steve Sinclair. He's, I think, one of the lead designers on it, or creative director or something now. And he made a
Dude, Taran planes running. I know what you're talking about, dude.
great comment about Warframe that I really appreciated, and I think is also true for PlanetSide, which is he was asked, are you ever tempted to reduce the complex, like, why do you think Warframe is polarizing for people? Because even though it is really successful, it does turn people off. And the thing that he said that I really liked
Because it's fucking boring.
is, I think gamers are smart. They look at something and they know whether or not they're up for it. Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he has food under his bed sheets.
there will be people out there who just want an easy free-to-play title to grind away on for a bit. And maybe they're not the best audience to try to get. I don't know.
Yeah, PlanetSide gamers don't know what they want. Most gamers in general think they know what they want, but they don't know what they want, honestly. And they're
But
stupid.
there's also there are different kinds of
Most of
people who have different kinds of interest in investing themselves in an experience.
I mean, it's true. Most of you are
and
stupid.
folks and gamers who understand that
Let's just be
to
honest.
get something good out of an experience, you have to put something into it. And people who actually really crave the experience of having some agency in that, rather than just being along for the ride.
But you have to, like, I'm
And
stupid.
I think that PlanetSide
You have
and
to be honest
the
with
content that
yourself.
you put out there to show what it actually is, if you do that, is super, super duper important. And that's why I think it's really important that you have that retort video out there to the Mandalore video.
Don't start this
The
reply
Mandalore
button
video
shit. Don't do it.
is
This
a
is the
poison
most
pill
useless
for
fucking
people who are
dumb
trying
feature
to
that nobody.
decide whether or not to click
Who
download.
asked, bro?
Right.
Like, no.
Or for people who
Stop it.
have gotten a few hours in, have been killed from around the corner a few too many times, and are trying to rationally justify a negative feeling.
Next person to use the reply feature is
and
timed
justify
out.
moving on to the next game. And if they
Right.
click the video that says,
I
hey,
want
if you
to
fix
fucking
your mouse
time you out. You
and
be
turn off shadows, you'll be able to see better and shoot faster.
Relax.
Don't put your certs into guns. Put it into class unlocks and stuff like that. And they'll be like, oh, you know what? That sounds kind of fun. I kind of like that progression. That sounds interesting. If you don't hear
like
that,
why wasn't the @
not
symbol
really
with somebody's name enough?
and
Like, why do I
it seems
need
me
to
that the
see a
community isn't
line of
place
text?
to send that message out?
Like, what the
so
fuck?
it's always sad when someone who's not really part of the community gets to own so much of the message. I don't know.
Right. No, you're right on. And that's
Twitch
in the
is
end,
so
that's why
useless, man.
I still, any of the videos where I'm harsh, I always feel bad about, and I lose sleep. I literally lose sleep about it. But I do feel it's important that there is a message out there for anyone that there are a lot of people that, and again, I get the comments that say, hey, thanks for that video for clearing it, from people that are veterans. And then I also get people that say, hey, I watched that video. I wasn't going to check it out, but then I watched yours and I decided to check it out. And I'm so glad I did. So I think it is important that there is some sort of video out there that the people that are going to get over that hill of the first negative review and look for the next one will get it and say, oh, wow, the community does stand behind this game. Oh, there is more to the game, more to the just cursory look that some people look. So that's why in the end, I'm like, okay, well, it did.
I just look at content creators that I have went to in the past that I know I can trust them with what they say about a game. Like, that's what I care about. Like, all the big name fucking guys and shit, like, I don't bother with that shit, man. Like, I talk to friends, I look at smaller people, see what they're doing, watch some people play. Like, that's how I get I don't ever go to fucking big ass expating. I don't ever go to fucking big ass content creators for like game reviews or how they feel about it. Very rarely do I ever.
It did more good than bad, I feel like,
Yeah, well, it's certainly.
IGN, oh my god, dude.
For the people who look more than once, there's a net benefit in seeing the back and forth.
Right. Absolutely.
Because PlanetSide's a game about conflict at so many levels. One of my favorite things about the game is that it's always over time embraced the 3-faction identity, which makes it so complicated, I think.
Absolutely.
Overcomplicated.
People to understand and to know what to do. And it's one of those bits of like, yes, this level of complexity is going to frustrate people. It's going to make the game harder to make, harder to iterate on, and harder to sell. But this is PlanetSide. And I don't know, like, when I first heard about Outfit Wars,
It really just needs to be TR and NC, honestly. That's it.
I didn't know what it was going to be exactly. I had the pleasure of being in one of the early playtests. But I was originally thinking, hey, they're probably going to do like an outfit versus outfit.
In fact, I don't even think... Wasn't it a thing that they weren't even going to have VS? It was going to be a fucking... It was going to be a 1v1 type thing? Like, it just works better. Like, I remember either I heard or I read somewhere that VS wasn't going to be a playable faction. It was just going to be Terran and New Conglomerate. I'd be interested to see how that worked out.
Outfit Wars. And when I saw that it was...
Oh yeah, we need people to pay money to fucking log into the Underpop faction. Yes, 4th faction.
3 faction. I was like, oh man, they got it right.
Yeah.
They really got that right.
Dude, speaking of, has any of you seen Soggy Cow's latest streams? He's just, if you thought it was bad before, it's it's gone to a new level. He was banned? How does a person like that get banned? Oh, he was banned before that. See, the thing about his persona now is he cannot be banned. Now that he's a gay LGBTQ2 fucking whatever X-Man, he can't get banned. You can't ban someone like that. It's hate.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny coming from, I was on a server in World of Warcraft that was 6-1 Alliance versus Horde. And what a disaster world PvP was in a situation like that, right? So, you know, I think 3 faction can be frustrating to people, right? Because one faction every now, shouldn't say every now and then, it's part of it, right? One faction's always getting a little extra focused. But without it, there would never be relief, right? One faction would always be the underdog. Whereas here, at least in PlanetSide, it swings, right? One faction's getting a little over-focused, but it swings, and then another faction is, and then in the end, sure, they're not all great, but you get some just amazing fights because you're able to.
Were Irish
the push
and
on the
enslaved by
map
the
changes.
British.
Right? If you balanced it perfectly, we would all fight TI allies only, right? Everyone would be pushed to the middle, and there would never be any movement on the map. The fact that there are disparities allows the map to move around and get interesting fights in interesting places.
Yeah. It helps continue to agitate the sandbox and keep things from getting too stale.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Do you want to talk a little bit about your experience casting the Outfit Wars game?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Very interesting.
That was fun.
The shittiest observer cam in the history of games, spectating a giant fucking 3-way retard fight on a fucking somebody made in 10 minutes fucking map. Yes, let's talk about that.
I kind of got a few. The first thing I would do is give a big shout out to Kamikaze. I think everyone here is, you know, if you're a fan of PlanetSide, you're a fan of Kami. But he was the one that pulled me into the duo cast. So that made it a lot more fun to me. I appreciate it. I just want to give a shout out because he was the one that he was the initiator. I am excited for any of these sort of.
Like, what kind of ADHD moron do you have to be to watch this? Like, if you're someone coming to the game and you watch the stream for the first time, you're like, wow, that's so cool. Like, watching this cast, it's like the most boring, generic shit ever. Like, you don't even see what the hell is going on. This is a problem with large-scale fucking. It's like, how do you fail so fucking hard when your game is designed around large-scale combat, but you have no real way to fucking accurately depict large-scale combat for shit like this? Like, it's such a joke.
Streamer, dream team type of things, but I never have time to really motivate them, so they don't happen. And Kami did that one, so that was fun. But yes, it was super fun. I had just barely got my stream up and running, but I don't know. I see a lot of potential for the community to come together around it, and just something to strive for these outfits that really.
Wow, look at that cool. Look at you. You have no idea. Like, you just saw that this guy killed that guy. Like, there's no, like, I don't want to see this. I want to see individual perspectives. I'm sorry, I just do. Like, this shit is so totally uninteresting to me. Like, especially in these large formats. Like, it's a little bit better in the smaller formats because you can kind of get a better feel for what's going on. But this shit is just fucking, it's so surface level and boring and lame.
We want to get into this sort of, people are going to hate me for using the word competitive in 3-way, but you know, I find that if you're playing kickball with your local gymnasium, it's still a competitive event, right? You're trying to win. So maybe this isn't like the Super Bowl, but it is.
And it takes away from the, like, having this kind of system takes away from the individual fucking players themselves. Like there are good players in this event that are playing in this event, but what's the impact? You can't see what they're doing. Who cares? Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, it's
still
just
competitive,
boiled down
Yeah.
piss water.
The thing that, absolutely, man. And the
This is like the fucking Miller Lite of fucking competitive events in video games.
thing that I remember thinking about Outfit Wars is, man, they finally gave outfits a reason.
And that's no shade against Miller
Push
Lite. The drunkest I've ever been
outfits
in my
a
life
reason to
multiple times has been
hone in on
Miller.
whatever identity they have. I was actually playing with B-Way when the first Outfit Wars happened, that Alpha 1 season or whatever it was. And, you know, we could talk about some of the misses that early on and how RPG jumped in to fix some stuff. And it's, of course, that stuff gets iterated on over time. But just going from a situation where the only thing to go for is either personal goals like directives, like the only shared goals as an outfit to go for is like locking continents and putting your names on bases. It's not good enough.
I mean, nobody cares about that anyway. So, I mean, yeah, it's not good enough.
For a game with the MMO DNA the PlanetSide has. This is, it may not be the last thing that outfits have to strive for.
It better not be.
But it is, I think, completely crucial to developing these communities. The only concern I have about it is that not enough outfits get to participate in it.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And the fact that it completely marginalizes anything that's not a fucking large outfit. I mean, can you mention that?
Are you looking for a bracketing system, or what are you thinking?
Oh man, I don't know what the solution is. You know, I think one of the tensions too. Interesting intonation in the chat.
That'll change.
Rel saying that'll change. I guess we'll find
Someday.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. I know that one of the tensions, and I've heard Rel talk about this, or at least post about it somewhere, is between making sure that people are still engaged in the sandbox of PlanetSide, which is, you know, on Indar, on Asin, on Esamir, where you're grinding out certs and you're playing with your outfit, and you have that 3-way 1,000-player battle.
Every time someone suggests a non-shit format as responses, then people would only play that. Crazy how people would enjoy good format. It's weird. It's like if you give people a bunch of like a small group of options, like one option A, B, C, people will generally go to what they enjoy the most, right? Wow. It's like the fucking community will decide what you should iterate on for you, and you don't even have to do any fucking work.
That is,
but Rel is of the mind that I know what's best for you. I'm gonna give you this, and you have to play this. And any other options, like I don't want to hear it. Like
just like quintessential PlanetSide, and it is risky to try to pull the game away from that too much. I completely respect that risk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because of that risk, Outfit Wars becomes really bold to say that we're gonna give something outside that loop that we can put enough into to hit those same production values. And I was honestly
like at the same time, like if you develop those three things, like A, B, C, ultimately is one of them going to be a fucking waste of time? Like, yeah, probably, but at least you have options for them to do. Like, look at fucking WoW, like Alteric Valley, Warsong Gulch, Rathi Basin. It's kind of not the best fucking situation, but people generally, unless they have like a full fucking 10 group of guys, they're gonna just fucking do A, B. Like, that's just easier. Like, you don't have that kind of option in this fucking game, man. Because you're not allowed to have options. You're allowed to be served whatever turd on a plate is given to you, and then they're gonna work on that for 8 months and then fucking forget about it. Like, that's it.
delighted at how smoothly it went right from the start. I mean, there were problems with the way that the rules and qualification were conceived, but
I mean, every game has dead game modes, but it's better for a game to have dead game modes than to be a fucking dead game overall. What's up, bro?
outside
How
of
you doing?
those details, it's
I'm
gone
on my
off
rant
very
session.
well, and with a lot less friction than I could have foreseen there being.
Absolutely. I think the tough thing for RPG, obviously, is some people want it to be the competitive event of PlanetSide, right? Really
And it will never be that.
making that esports event. And what I see and what I think is the right way is I see it as a community event with sort of a competitive spirit, right? There's a winner. But I see something that's like, let's bring as much of the community together.
Like, yeah, he's right. Like, this should still be a thing, you know, for the people that want to do it. But for the love of Christ, can we get some like sponsored like actual like competitive like 6v6 stuff, man. That's like shoutcasted on the fucking main page. Like, can we get some goddamn support for that scene, man? Like, it's just all been community driven this entire for fucking 6 years. It's all community driven, and you have people that are fucking working on this all the time, and it's had iterations over time, and there's I mean, just please, God, do something for other people that isn't just mouth breathers and Zerg fits.
To not only play, but if everyone can play, then you get that many more viewers, right? We saw PlanetSide 2 casters having over 2,000 viewers. When have you ever seen that?
Love that.
And that's all credit to RPG making.
Yeah, for the first event and then never again.
An event that the whole community gets to be part of. Now, I'm not opposed to in the side having a truly competitive event. And really, RPG's leaving Jaeger up. They have the gracious people at PlanetSide Battles kind of running the show, but allowing those competitive events to go on. But I think it was very important that the in-game sanctioned event, yes, what you qualified on the live servers, rather than pulling population off to bracketed events where you're losing battle on the main continents effectively to make them happen. The battle is.
That's not an excuse though that you can use for the smaller event stuff. Like, that's not an excuse.
Going on the live continents, and it is getting as much of the community.
And the system that they implemented for this on the live servers made the live servers even more unplayable than they already were.
Involved as you can.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing that can happen for Rogue Planet games is the small outfits that are dedicated to want to be part of it is to go out and recruit new people. That would be win-win.
Yeah, fucking just make them Zerg fits too. That's your solution,
right?
Of course.
Not only do those outfits not become too powerful, but they then go out and they bring new people into the kind of mid.
Because I'm sure Bax and B-Way and all these fucking other outfits want to recruit 100 fucking people have never played the game before. I'm sure that's what they want to do.
Sort of environment where they're going to have the most fun, right? Where they're going to be able to create content for those players that didn't even know those sorts of outfits existed. But they can't motivate the small outfits to do that. Inevitably, what's going to happen in some cases is the 4 super skilled small outfits are going to turn into one skill ball, and they are going to dominate.
I mean, that's what has happened historically anyway. This is not something new. This is something that's been happening for 8 years.
And we saw that happen.
Right, exactly. And that's RPG can't stop that. There's not a way to make that not happen. Some people are going to be out there to win it and to crush the opponents, and that I don't think that's bad. That's just part of it. And then in some of the other brackets, you're going to see more competitive, interesting events. I would say, 80% of the matches were it could have swung in any direction. Really,
even from the outset, they were remarkably close.
Exactly. Anyone had a chance at it, and
it's because the format is fucking idiotic.
I think that's all. Oh, there it is. There's the moment. It's up here, right?
Oh, the infamous.
Who wants to watch? Isn't this the part where recursion they get run over by like some fucking vehicle or something?
Harasser clean sweep.
And sure, I'll give an apology to recursion. I saw that happen. It was so epic. I certainly played it up. I know she didn't get the whole squad, but it just was epic that she even got it onto the roof.
Yeah.
1v1v1 is literally the dumbest fucking format. Like it's just ass.
So, it's a fantastic.
It's not a competitive format.
Fantastic moment. This is one of my favorite moments in PlanetSide this year because it was created by a player, and it had a huge stage and a huge.
But I mean, you're assuming that we would get a competitive format out of someone that doesn't fucking even understand anything about competitive FPS games in REL. Like, that's a totally different subject. But I mean, of course, how are you ever gonna? You're never gonna get there.
Audience and
because the guy literally doesn't understand FPS games.
Everyone immediately understood what it meant when they saw it.
And that's what a live cast is about, right? We caught the moment. I could have easily been at another base.
Yes.
Right? But we caught the moment, and that's what's so cool about a live stream or an esports event.
Yeah, can you guys imagine a fucking 1v1v1 baseball game? That would be crazy, man. Or a fucking one. I mean, it would be interesting to watch, like a 1v1v1 football game. 3 teams on the field at once. Oh wait,
you see those things that are then written into PlanetSide lore later on.
And you know what?
They're interesting in terms of like a spectacle, but in terms of like competition, it's just it's stupid.
I also think that I have this funny and unique experience, not related to PlanetSide, so I'll try to summarize it quickly. But my group of gaming brothers who I described to you way back from the early 2000s, we all played a game called Team Fortress Classic, a mod for Half-Life 1.
This guy brings up Team Fortress Classic every fucking.
We made clans, we scrimmaged and practiced and played matches against each other that we all organized as a community. Very try-hardy high school stuff. But we all found each other again in our 30s, and we decided to make a league again. And over the last 3 months,
watch the Lakers versus the Raptors.
I have been casting those matches
versus the Grizzlies.
Ooh,
And
epic, man.
I kind of did it as a lark because I just liked that game and wanted to be a
That
part
would
of
be
it
an
again.
interesting game to
And
watch from the
it
Grizzlies'
is
perspective,
undeniable that
honestly.
a lot of the matchups there are very one-sided. Not It's a small community. There's not really enough room to have a very well-balanced league. There are only like I think 11 or 12 teams, but it brought the community together and gave us shared moments and experiences and helped reinforce the
And it's a best of 5. That's serious.
the game and the community and bring people out.
Because
And I think that
XD
streaming is
best
one of
of
those.
fives.
It's one of those. I think now unassailably integral parts of any gaming experience forever. It can't be ignored. And I didn't think that was going to have that much of an impact. So I see the value in even having not super try-hardy esports, but just like kind of fun, like summer league stuff. It gives
It's not about being like super try hard, just to have a format that isn't fucking stupid. Like let's not confuse the two things.
people a
Absolutely.
chance, like to talk shit to each other.
Yep.
It gives little moments of drama.
Yep.
Well, and occasionally something like Harasser Gate 2020 happens.
You're exactly right. Right. I mean, sure. There is the World Cup, right, and then there is your local indoor soccer league, right. They're both important. The indoor soccer league is something that delivers so much of that community, and I find if you're going out and you're doing a little league in Planetside or in whatever it is,
Yeah, but one actually matters way more than the other one. Let's be real.
it is an important piece of the entire experience, right? The entire football experience or the entire gaming/Planetside experience.
Yeah, man. Well, I hope to see you doing more casts. And
Yeah, I can't wait for the next. That was kind of part of the reason I've been pushing so hard on streaming, much to some of my viewers' chagrin that the videos have been so sparse. Is just trying to be ready for Outfit Wars. I'm trying to get the transitions. I'm trying to get the overlays. You know, I'm seeing
Yes.
your streams just looks so slick here, man. Major props, by the way. Just being able to do some interviews with some of this kind of interface up and running, to try to deliver, more of an esports experience. Twitch has a heading just for esports. I don't know if Planetside even gets a say on there during Outfit Wars, but there's people
It doesn't, because it's not an esport.
that want to come watch esports of any game, even a game they're not that into. So I want to keep working that forward.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. Casting those events are really fun, and Planetside deserves it. I'm really glad that we have a great excuse like Outfit Wars, a nice big stage like Outfit Wars. To be like,
Absolutely.
here's where we're going to show off the game. This
Yep.
is where to concentrate your attention. Good stuff.
Absolutely. And just not that I didn't get to say enough, but thank you to everyone that came out and viewed. I know for some people they think, it doesn't matter, but having the people come out and there's a little Raxian skin, be the audience, be the people
I'm always reminded that this guy procreated, and it makes me sad.
cheering, be the people memeing, be the people emoting.
I know that's toxic, but
It's such a key part of the experience. So thanks to everyone that came out and participated in the cast.
Definitely. Yeah, I know. I was certainly one of them.
just so you guys, like, that should give hope to a lot of you guys. It's this guy got laid and had kids, so it's possible for you too, all of you.
Good.
Yeah. So Outfit Wars is awesome. Alongside it came the Bastion, the War Asset system, and then following on, we've seen the Colossus, as a complement of sorts, or foil of sorts to the Bastion. How do you think that those additions to the sandbox have affected the community?
Yeah, it's interesting because
Accidents happen.
it's funny that what everyone's been screaming, the last thing the game needs is a unkillable high explosive farming machine. Right?
True.
But
very true.
at the same time,
bad.
bringing that into the game delivered the highest pop swing the game has seen in a long time.
And then it immediately went away.
Right? So it
Are
was
you going to
obviously
mention
the right
that?
call.
Oh, it was obviously the right call. Are you going to mention that it also lost all of its population almost immediately?
I think basically you need to combine, and it's very tough to do with resources.
Nope.
Those
Okay.
exciting moments, those pivotal sort of patches that bring something new and change it, with steadily improving every little sort of quality of life thing you can. So I think some people will have mixed results, like, God, the last thing we need is a big thing heshing us in our cool Bushido infantry battles. But I hope they can see that the infantry battles were made better
Okay, I'm back.
By something that exciting coming to the game. I mean, it is pretty epic to see one of those things drift across the sky, right?
Damn straight.
So, I can't say we don't pull our Bastion that often. It's not our favorite part of the gameplay, but it has made every other aspect of the gameplay more interesting because there's more population, more stuff going on in the game. So, I am very
It's true in a sense. The only reason I came back and played for a couple, I think I haven't played since like the first or second week of May now. The only reason I came back and played is because there were more players for me to farm, right? So that game desperately needs population to be interesting. And even that, with the people that did come back, it still got fucking stale and boring after a short amount of time. But that is, I know a lot of people that did come back and play specifically because of that reason.
all for more big, massive, just kind of direction of the game shattering sorts of events going into it to shake it up. And then I hope in the trenches and kind of the last part of the patch notes, we can keep working.
But all that was very temporary because the core issues of the game were not addressed at all. So you have your pop spike. I'm back playing the game. I'm playing it. I've got all these options of fights to go to. I'm semi enjoying myself for the most part before Outfit Wars qualification stuff. And then, we get the dumbass development decisions like, oh, we need 9 fucking currencies, and with this currency, everybody has a Spitfire. We're not going to remove infinite Spitfires for 3 months. Like, all this, like, the performance of the game sucks dick again. The servers suck dick. Like, just on and on and on. And then you just stop playing
or
again.
any little thing that helps the general day-to-day gameplay as well.
That's interesting, too, because the pop spike was right around when everybody was having to sit at home. And meanwhile, just a couple months later when everybody's still having to sit at home, everybody's fucking leaving and not playing again. That's so weird because we want to talk about how great the fucking pop spike was for the game, but we don't want to talk about the outside factors. And of course, when you bring up, hey, everybody's still in fucking quarantine, there's a pandemic going on, why is fucking everyone leaving? Is it because the game sucks? No, it's because grandma died. It's because it's fucking hot out in Europe, bro. Like all these bullshit excuses that you read every fucking year as to why the game just bleeds population.
As well, but again, I think those key big things are so important to keeping the hype. I did the hype hills and hype valleys. The hype hills are so important. The hype hills can deliver us other little quality of life events in the bottom of the patch notes. So those things are important to keep those hype hills coming.
Yeah. And we got those awesome Robert Stoneman videos back.
Yes, that's epic.
The war correspondent videos. I love those.
War correspondent
RPG
videos.
Brown back in, right on.
Fucking
Yeah, those are amazing.
All amazing,
I'm
man.
glad that the guy is still around. Still hanging around Araxis.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think some of those Esamir Easter eggs got snuck into one of those videos, right?
You're absolutely right. He's got some news along the bottom there that's letting you know about the cold front that's coming across.
Ooh, that makes me shiver. Any hints for me?
Yeah, can he drop any more? Yeah, let's prod him until he drops another.
Dude, if I was a dev for the game, I would be so totally checked out at this point. I would just make a fucking the hot front or whatever come in, and I would melt Esamir and just make it second Indar. And then there would be 2 Indars, and then I would quit.
Let's see. So you said you guys
It'd
don't
fuck
pull
everyone.
the Bastion that much. What's been your experience with the Colossus?
The same thing, to be honest. I want to obviously Yamix. What's up, sir? Miss you.
No, dude, you would just have 2 eyes. It would be Indar. Like 2 for the second Indar, but also 2 eyes Indar. You get it?
Man, we miss you.
We do, it's true.
We haven't pulled that out as much either. We just haven't really engaged in that battle. The Bastion, we are able to move fast enough in our gameplay that the Bastions never really affect our experience that negatively.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a hot drop outfit like us, it's always working from galaxies.
Yeah, because you just dump your entire fucking outfit on whatever 12 to 24 fights going on and move on. Of course, you don't experience
It's
how
like
cancer.
you see them going, but they don't
Bastions
really
work.
bother you. If they're around, you just move on. So that's why we haven't really taken the time to do an armor column and kill them off.
Do you need a Colossus to take down a Bastion? My impression is no.
Nope.
I guess that's true. We're also, we're more of an airfit anyways when it comes to it. So we pull a bunch of lock-on Mozzies or worm Mozzies, and that really kind of does the trick. So
Do you see some of the more armor-inclined outfits like embracing the Colossus? What have you seen?
that's exactly what it is. The outfits that are the ones that are going to pull an armor column anyways.
Mhm.
They're the ones that'll put a couple of Colossus in the mix. And so I think it really adds something to the gameplay. And that's why I'm all for it. Not everything that comes to PlanetSide needs to be part of my gameplay. And I hope most people can appreciate, right, that not every patch has to be for their style of gameplay. So,
Well, man, imagine ever getting a patch that was addressing your style of gameplay. When was the last infantry fucking, like, improving the quality of life for infantry and, you know, making the game not suck? When was that patch? Fuck. When was people who care about core gameplay mechanics, when have those people... I always hear this shit, man, like, all this shit from fucking vehicle retards, constantly, like, Rail loves infantry and blah, 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 blah. And I'll be like, okay, let's hear what this big list of fucking things that I have asked for the last 5-6 years. Have any of them ever fucking happened? Where is this patch where I'm getting all the things that I want? Or anything, or even anything remotely close? Where's that patch?
Yeah.
Instead, we get patches for fucking ADHD mouth breathers who come back and play the game for fucking 20 seconds. I mean, they don't do anything, and then they just leave again. Like, that's who the game is focused on. It's focused on people who don't play FPS games, who are not interested in it. People who are more interested in fucking lore and turning the game into Arma in space. Like, once we get off that kick, well, we never will because we have Rel and friends. We need to get rid of him and get rid of most of the people there and get some, like, people who actually care about FPS games on the fucking development team. And then maybe we can move in that direction. But yeah, I'm still waiting for this fucking... all these things that I've asked for over the years.
I've seen them as the kind of the backbone of multiple armor columns, and super cool to see that Skylance firing off.
Yeah, man. And those armor outfits have needed a bone thrown to them for a while, I think.
For sure, you're absolutely right. You know, people have been asking for a new vehicle forever, so this is here. I understand some people are going to be salty that, you know, the kind of top of outfit is only what can really pull them. But I think
fucking armor. Who the fuck is in an armor outfit in 2020?
I think that encourages people to spread out and make more tighter, neat outfits where everyone will get an opportunity to pull them.
Yeah, I mean, all these little things, or big things.
Yeah, Rel is an infantry player. All his patches are there to suppress vehicle players. That's why the game remains in the same constant state of vehicle fucking bukkake.
Like the outfit wars.
Yes,
the Colossus,
total, 100%.
Sebastian.
Rel's on my side.
This is all outfit
Yes.
content. And this is one of my favorite things about the RPG I'm seeing in 2020 and the messaging that I've seen from them is the understanding that the community, if you make content that requires the community to engage with, the community will come out for it.
Or because we haven't had any content to engage with, like, hardly ever. So when you put new stuff in this game, because the development for this game has been so fucking lazy and dog shit over the past fucking, well, basically forever, no wonder people come out. It's not that they come out because your ideas are fucking revolutionary. It's because there's a drought of meaningful content. And every time a patch comes out with content, we all come back and see, hey, is this going to do anything good for the game? And then we all realize, nope, it's the same bullshit. And then we all leave again. So you have this cycle after cycle after cycle, this shit happening. And it's happening again right now.
And it's important to have, like, your directives and your mission systems. And it's important to have these things that keep individuals logging in day to day to chase
Yeah, but what happens when you're done all the shit that you want?
something that they like.
What happens
new
then?
weapon.
I've been done any directives that I want to do for fucking 3 years. What's keeping me playing the game?
Unlocks,
Certainly not the core gameplay loop.
things like that. But
That's what you fucking need to keep people like me playing the game.
it's those communities that are the sticky part of PlanetSide. That whole MMO piece. You know, when your buddy tells you he can't log in for ops, and you're like, oh, come on, just, tell your wife you're not feeling well or something.
Yeah, it's E-dubs. Tell your wife, Graham Hoek, you can't log in for ops, E-dubs.
Make up some excuse, man.
Make up an excuse.
And where
You'd
you
be
kind of
allowed
feel
to
like,
play.
oh, man, I kind of want to go.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't get that stick if you're just logging in to pursue the next directive weapon necessarily. But if it's
Absolutely.
guys,
No, and it makes complete sense to me. They do totally understand that people that find their way into outfit are more likely to stick around for longer. Um, and yeah, and I think there's a big messaging part of that, and I don't know if that's there as well as they'd like it to be. Hey, you do this, you'll get the merit stuff, you'll get to do more stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense to me that they are trying to get people into distributed through outfits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you kind of got to create the obvious outcomes, I think. The obvious benefits, like what's in it for me? Oh, I can do a Bastion. And then I kind of get, I'm obviously ascribing intentionality where there may be none. But to me, if they're
It's always a fool's errand to ascribe something intentional that this dev team does, because they literally have no fucking idea what they're doing. So for you to ascribe some grand scheme or some ingenious design pattern of thinking to anything that these guys do, you're stupid.
approach is, let's create those excuses and then we'll pave the road to them. That's better than taking the opposite approach where you try to railroad people into outfits for no apparent reason.
Bro, there's something way more important going on in front of Cyrious to the right, okay? That's why he's saying that way.
I think you're right. I think you're perceiving it right on. Is they're trying to deliver. They're putting the carrot out there right there, and you're right. They still need to pave the way a little bit better, but they're getting the reason out there, and I think you're right on.
I like having content that'll make you think on how to approach a battle.
Cool. Sirius agrees with me.
Fucking smooth brain comment of the year.
Well,
You're a wise man. Why wouldn't I?
Oh God, tell my wife that. So
I got one of those mugs at the office. I don't need Google. My wife knows everything. She made sure to buy me that one.
I need to think about getting one of those. So speaking of wisdom and lessons learned, one of the topics I've pinned here that I can't let us get through this without talking about is PlanetSide Arena.
Yeah.
I rewatched some of your content on Arena as prep for this to just remember.
You remember the part where Sirius said that PlanetSide Arena is everything that people like me wanted? You guys remember that? That fucking little shitty cheap argument he tried to make?
What you've said and what you put out there. But maybe you can just walk us through it. Your experience first learning about Arena, what your initial impressions were, and how it progressed.
Yeah, I think Arena is a tough one because, it depended on the community getting behind it.
It's not tough. The market wasn't there. It was a fucking dumb idea from the start. We told you not to do this. And you then fucking did it anyway.
And including the content creators. And it had felt like we had just been through the whole H1Z1 experience where we had kind of been shoved to the side. And it kind of felt like that all over again, where we're getting this new content, this new game that's in the franchise, but it's delivering something completely. I know they're putting the carrot out there of Massive Clash, right? But it's
like I've said this a million times. If the game launched with Massive Clash or whatever it was going to be, fine. But for fuck's sakes, don't launch it with a fucking battle royale that nobody wants.
iteration was delivering something completely different.
Yeah.
So how do you voice to a development company that you love that, hey, we want more content like what's already here? I don't know how.
What is this background? I don't know, dude.
How you do that.
Fucking PlanetSide 1, fucking somewhere.
And then I think the second big problem really just harkens back to the challenge video. When I played, if I was playing in small groups, it was unfair out there, man. I'm not a terrific player, but
That's one of the things you highlighted. Yeah.
there was a lot of battles out there that I'm sure the other side felt like this wasn't fair or fun. And same thing, I ran into the groups out there that were, you put 12 players that are in Discord together and they will just wreck a lobby,
Mm-hmm.
fucking voice cons is unfair.
And so they didn't have a solution to that. They didn't have, it was one of those things where they couldn't sell it to us, right? They couldn't sell it to PlanetSide 2.
So who the fuck else are you gonna sell it to? Because nobody wants to play this shit.
Because the PlanetSide 2 experience was not in it yet. They had aspirations for that, but it was not in it yet. And so they had to go sell it to someone else, and they never did. They never had that budget to try to pitch
They couldn't because nobody wanted this shit.
it as the better version of H1Z1 or the next Battle Royale.
And also,
Is Sirius wearing an Under Armour
I
polo
think
shirt?
Apex landed at the exact same time. They were planning on giving it to people, I think.
Yeah, well, you're right on. And then
That
Apex, that was kind of the nail in the coffin,
That was
right?
the first thought that I had when I saw Apex is,
They were trying to sneak
Damn.
into the Battle Royale market, and then you had just this, because really, PlanetSide was groundbreaking in that it was Battle Royale, but class-based. And then Apex was the same, even a wider version of that, right? A hero-based
hero,
Battle Royale.
right.
now the PlanetSide, the arena didn't even have a niche like that to kind of lean into. So, yeah, that was a tough one.
Yeah,
That'd be rough to see come down.
tough is the word.
I think he's actually kind of moved off his stance that he, like, around the time that PlanetSide Arena had failed and was basically dead, Cyrious had kind of put out there that, you know, PlanetSide Arena was the stripped down game that people like me wanted. And, you know, it failed because people don't want that. That's what he was putting out. It's nice to see. I don't know if he's gonna say anything like that, but I feel like he's moved off that maybe because it's just wrong. How do you communicate
with people who with developers of a game that you love? That's something that they've put out there as the next thing isn't really it, or it's not really there. And
right.
I think that a lot of people communicated the way I did, which is by opting out of the whole thing.
You know, I think that's the most common one. Yeah, and you're probably right. That's probably the best way to do it, right? Because I think, you know, I understand that there are people that poured their heart and soul into this, right? And it's frustrating to see a community tear it down.
We didn't tear it down. We just said this is a stupid endeavor. It's gonna die. It's gonna be dead on arrival. We told you it's gonna be dead on arrival in fucking, what was it, February of that year?
Same time, you being investor of sorts, right? I mean, a lot of us has probably invested.
It wasn't anything to do with us tearing it down. We were trying to warn you.
A lot of money into the franchise, and then see that they're.
But this company does not. The developers, everyone from top to bottom, thinks they know best. Feedback, fuck it. If it's not whoever was in the room's idea, then fuck it.
Taking that in a different direction that you didn't want your investment to lead towards. Yeah. And how do you voice that without actually getting a say at the table? You don't have a voting chair. I don't know what the best way to do it is, but if you open your wallet, then you're voting yes, whether you want to be. I know some people are like, well, I'm voting.
He's
for
a minimalist, okay?
I appreciate that, yeah. But in the end, you're probably also voting for Battle Royale. So do you want to vote for that as well? You know,
that's a complicated thing, and I think there's so many things that can easily be pointed to as like.
Yeah, and then they give you the shit belly ranks. Like, they'll give you shit. You guys fucking ruined the game. You guys never gave it a chance. You downvoted it on Steam. And then at the same time, these are the same people that are fucking praising dipshits like Archie and all these people for making this massive fake-ass hype machine for escalation, for, like, fake upvoting, for people that didn't even play the fucking game, upvoting PlanetSide 2 on Steam before the goddamn patch even launched. And we're the fucking bad people, right? You're literally lying to people.
Right about it. I think one of the only ways that Arena could have won me over is by having a non-royale mode.
Exactly.
That fucking smoked.
Absolutely.
You know, something that was unquestionably good, and you couldn't get in PlanetSide 2.
Yep. And you know, that's one of those things where the devs are probably like, but we said we were bringing it. We said we were bringing it, and it's like, you know,
it's like that's not fucking good enough. Like, you need to launch with it. I mean, you fucking delayed the game for like 8 months. Like, what were they doing? We delayed the game for 8 months to have a fucking battle royale. The one mode that you could not afford to launch with.
We've seen,
like, they're just fucking retarded.
So many phase ones. We've seen cool, awesome roadmaps that don't come to be. Mm-hmm. It had to be one of those things where they had to take that leap of faith and deliver that first for the PlanetSide 2 end to get on board. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure the powers that be above see Fortnite and they see PUBG and then they see Apex. And they say, no, we got to stick with that Battle Royale trend. And could it have worked if it was Massive Clash first? I wonder. I wonder if it would have been different. Because
maybe.
Andy Seitz said that the concept was, let's try to deliver PlanetSide in a more like a 45-minute batch or match type of dose.
Maybe
there's something to be said for that, right? Because people can't stay through a 90-minute alert sometimes. They can't wait till the alert starts. They have to leave before the alert ends. It's tough to find a digestible chunk of PlanetSide 2 sometimes.
Yeah.
And so if they could have delivered, I understand the concept of wanting to deliver an arena-based but Massive Clash end of that. So I'm curious if that would have scratched the itch, done it better or worse. The one thing I always said was all the PlanetSide people, or the PlayStation people thought of MAG, right? The massive action game.
Yep.
And if they could have done something that brought that community over and they would have been able to nab the PlanetSide 2 community as well, then maybe they could have had the foundation for PlanetSide 3 like they wanted.
Is that really what they wanted, though?
Yeah, MAG wasn't three-way.
Yeah, Here's my thing, and it's a little bit cynical. To me, they're dangling PlanetSide 3 because everyone wants PlanetSide 3. They're dangling the world's word so people buy into it, even if they don't like what's there.
It's a dangerous.
People simp for fucking PlanetSide 3 because legitimately PlanetSide 3 and starting over is the only way to fix the fucking problems that we have with PlanetSide 2. It's the only way. You can't put the cat back in the bag with PlanetSide 2. There's just too many things that are fucked. And the only way to actually address the shit that's wrong is to make another game, which is, I mean, it's kind of sad to say, but I mean, that's honestly the truth.
Spell to cast.
Right.
I think even Rel would fucking tell you that. And I'm pretty sure that has been a statement from him.
Exactly. So I understand when you're in the position.
But that's the thing too. No, you cannot. Rel and whoever's been working on the game they cannot be the people to do the third game. They can't be. Please, for the love of God, give it to someone else.
You're trying to make the game work. You gotta pull out all the stops. It just, I think.
Please, that's why I was kind of glad when they split up the companies and they made Rogue Planet. I'm like, thank fucking God, this might get sold to someone competent. So then they can get in there and they can get people who understand what fucking genre of the game that they're developing, so we can actually have some fucking progress. But it hasn't come to pass.
I think for most people, it kind of just was frustrating. Well, we should have started somewhere entirely different if this was our path to PlanetSide 3, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, when I was reading the letter that Andy wrote when the RPG announcement came down, and he didn't look PlanetSide 3, it was clear that there was a need to inspire people. And it was a moment where he obviously put out the words and thought that he could back them up. I don't know if the community was ready to believe him at that point, but Outfit Wars and the Bastion and the Colossus and this little mystery about Esamir some of us are paying attention to all seem to be proving out.
It doesn't prove anything because it doesn't fucking address anything, or it doesn't make your game better. None of that shit makes me want to log in. It doesn't prove out anything.
That message of PlanetSide can be more than circling the drain of what you already know.
Yeah, but we're circling the drain not because we're not throwing new shit into the game. I mean, that's a small reason, but we're circling the drain because we've lost fundamentally what the hell our game is about. And we're just going off into fucking Narnia.
Absolutely. It's kind of interesting because with PlanetSide Arena, I feel like the last thing that anyone wants is to say, hey, yelling and screaming and turning away from it. Like,
bro, Bunyan, half these dudes in my chat right now are going to log into PS2 right after this fucking stream. Like, right into it. All right, man, get on ops. Like, let's go. Like,
we don't want that behavior to work, but it did, right? The whole dev team came here because PlanetSide Arena dropped, and now we're getting
they're
cool things like Escalation,
psychos,
like Outfit Wars,
man.
because they reinvested into this title. And I want to give props again to Rel that I think that the fact that we had a history of being willing to spend on things like implants would allow them to say, okay, well, let's go back to it.
Am I going to play after this? No, I'm going to eat fucking dinner, and then I don't know what I'm going to do.
Losses. But at the same time, I feel like
my raid tonight got canceled because dad gamers can't get world buffs 2 days in a row.
Now. I feel like we just might be stuck with a PlanetSide 2 still dwindling and a very mediocre arena-based.
The BWL is canceled tonight, Ruben.
One, So
yeah,
it worked.
It's just
you made a video with a great headline.
Gas guild meeting.
Something to the effect of, actually, I think I wrote it down. Maybe I didn't write it down. Oh, here it is. PlanetSide Arena is a good game, but it must cannibalize PlanetSide 2 in order to survive.
It's 100%, and
I agree with that statement, because PlanetSide 2 is already such a niche game because of how they've built it. Like, that's your interest. That's your interest group, is all playing PlanetSide 2 already. You're not going to have outside, you see this, you're not going to have outside interest in PlanetSide Arena because people on the outside are just generally not interested. So it's a niche game. It just is. It's not that popular on the outside. So yeah, you're going to have to cannibalize PlanetSide 2 to make PlanetSide Arena popular. And that's if you even launched it with the right fucking mode.
I have this thing, and I think people are going to think I'm pompous saying it. I hate when I'm right. It sucks because I'm right about a lot of different disappointing things, and I just didn't. With their approach, the only community they had access to was the PlanetSide 2 community, and they would have either had to onboard everyone and kill off all the fights on PlanetSide 2
Mhm.
to get those players into Arena, or they would not be able to onboard them, but they had no plan to onboard a different community. They didn't have a plan to onboard the Battle Royale community, the sci-fi community, the massive action game community. They didn't have anyone else they could onboard other than the PlanetSide 2 people. So, yeah.
All true.
One game was going to win, and I'm glad it was PlanetSide 2. I want a PlanetSide 3. I do want a PlanetSide 3. I just think it needs to be a spiritual successor, and I do worry that PlanetSide 2 wasn't successful enough to warrant a 3.
Yeah, PlanetSide 3 is a tough question. When I talk to... So one of the most interesting ways I've had to think about PlanetSide 2 lately has been to actually go back and experience PlanetSide 1. There's a great fan run
PlanetSide 1 is awful.
project out there right now called PlanetSide Forever, where they're emulating the old PlanetSide 1 game. And on the weekends, there are 50 people logging in every weekend to play PlanetSide 1. It's not at the scale that it's meant to be played at, but there is still fun to be had there. And I talked to the project lead on a podcast about a month ago, a guy named Nick Wallet, really cool guy, about what PlanetSide 3 could be. And he talked about kind of melding some of the ideas. And some of the stuff about PlanetSide 1 that I really liked was how it felt a lot more like an MMO in many ways. And I think we're starting to see RPG now bring a lot of those things in today. The Sanctuary is a great example. It's totally an MMO idea.
Absolutely.
And completely pointless for PlanetSide 2.
It's a city, essentially.
Yep. Yeah, to me, the potential there is limitless. You know, I think for some people, it's like, well, there's nothing here yet. Hey, you're right. Hopefully they can kind of round it out and then really see the benefit of it.
What do you think we'll see from the Sanctuary?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the mission system can be based there.
Mm-hmm.
I think
you can do that at a warp gate.
All of us are, I would love to have VR training just right off an end of it. Me, I would love to
have that at the warp gate too.
have
Walk
a
through a
canteen.
door.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to have a canteen there.
And
see, and again, some people are like, well, that's pointless. I would love to have
It is.
Yeah, exactly. An outfit, guild halls, right? I would like to have something where you
See, this is the fucking problem, man.
you can work to as a guild where everyone feels like they can contribute, and hey, your bastion is hovering just outside of this instance hall, right? You can put a cosmetic on it. Just a gathering place where everyone can just as I try to do my stream, where sure we hang in the canteen and there's kind of a rise and fall to the stream.
Yeah.
I think it's a good way to do ops, right? We all kind of come together.
Bro, eating in an FPS? Have you seen this guy on the left? I bet he's fucking down.
As a community, as a group at it, and then we go out, we do battle on Araxis, and then we kind of wind down at the end and bring our spoils back. Oh, what did we unlock? What did we do? What did we achieve as a team today? Type of thing.
That's a great sounding gameplay loop. I love that.
Exactly.
Idea.
I think having that hub, it just offers all those potentials. And that, again, what I love about
He's got cooking 300, bro.
that is right now the game depends, a lot of the monetization is in loot crates. And to me, you can do monetization there that's more fun and more fair, where, hey, if people are running merit boosts or whatever, they can get more for their cosmetics for their guild hall faster,
Yeah, that's definitely what we need. We need people doing player housing and all this stupid ass fucking shit that I do in Skyrim in the middle of a fucking 3-way war. So I mean, it's awesome that we would have all these people fucking doing something else. It's weird to me that Cyrious has a problem with people taking time off of the continent and the wars and everything to go fight each other in some other place, like some instanced activity, but he has no problem with these people just basically AFKing. Like, it's so obnoxious.
all these cosmetic ways to monetize. I think that's definitely the way to make the game feel the most fair, rather than these loot crates / massive grind ways, where you feel like you need to grind to get card pace, whatever. So
I also would imagine that companies like RPG and the publisher Daybreak, with all the regulations.
Like, I have to ask this all the time. Who wants this? Like, what actual percentage of the community of this game wants this shit?
That we're hearing intoned across the world about loot crates and in online and gambling in video games, I would hope that we're starting to move away from that.
Absolutely. I think we're at a turning point for sure. Of course, any corporation based in the U.S. will be slower because we're always slower about those things. But
all about the business, baby.
Yep, for sure, for sure. Yeah, and Guardian there has a good point. Hey, can moving targets in VR? That would be a great little addition.
Yeah. I think I've heard that NPCs are kind of hard to do in PlanetSide 2.
No, there's plenty of them.
Doesn't surprise me.
You just have to leave the warp gate.
Probably accurate.
Yeah. So, what could PlanetSide 3 bring that PlanetSide 2 can't do?
Ooh, that's a good one. See, for me, and I'm going to start with why are so many people into Destiny? For you play
No, that's not where you fucking start. Like, and Destiny, you can't go to another dying game and say, are people getting into that? This guy is so fucking clueless, man.
Destiny. I have not. What keeps people in Destiny?
I would say constant, accessible content.
This is fucking retard fest, where you don't even have to be good to do anything.
That's always coming into the game. There's and also that it's a place. It's a world, right?
Mhm.
It's a safe place for shitty players, just like PlanetSide is. I gotta take a shit. I'll be right back. Came back to apologize. I'm hitting my my mid-30s lactose intolerance episode. It's terrible. Don't ever get older.
You go to the last city is a hub with a lot of flavor to it. There are secrets, there's story, and there's having all those things gives purpose to all the bullets you shoot. And the promise of sharing that with others, of course.
Yeah. And so what I say for PlanetSide is they got the most important part, the mechanics of combat. They got it out there with tanks and aircraft and infantry. They got great gunplay on them, but in a game that's at
yeah, but none of the phases of gameplay, ground, air, and fucking infantry, they've never played well with each other ever.
Massive scale, right? Counter-Strike has good gunplay, but that would not scale to hundreds of people in a battle.
Right.
Whereas they got
why not
that done. I know people are like, well, but I'm dying behind corners. Sure. I mean, if you imagine in any other one of these titles, I played the 50 versus 50 mode in Fortnite. It is just chugs. I had a beast of machine. It just chugs, and that's a game with shit graphics.
I think PlanetSide's a marvel of gaming.
Exactly, it really is. People don't appreciate. Like, they walk in,
hangs together.
I see these people. They walk in. Even Lyric on stream was like, right, they walk in and he's in a battle where there's 100 versus 100 people. He's like, God, I'm lagging. I'm like, do you have any concept of how different this is than any other? Like, your computer is getting messages on 200 different clients around you, and these aren't.
You could literally say the same thing 8 years ago when the game came out. What CPUs did you guys have 8 years ago? Compared to what CPUs do you have today? And the game still plays like shit. Why?
Aren't hit scan weapons either, right? It's calculating some stray bullet that's doming some guy that had no idea was like, what it's doing is astonishing.
Same PC, get the fuck out of here.
So major props to that. They got all that in, and then they didn't get lore. They didn't get RPG role-playing elements. They didn't get new player experience. Like, they got the part you have to have, and then they just didn't have the resources to do everything else. And obviously they hope to do it. I feel like it was sort of a game of chicken for PlanetSide, right? Smedley said this was a game that was supposed to run to 2025. They tried to build the graphics out like that. But inevitably the hardware of the time could not run a game meant for 2025. So it was like a game of kid.
Now the 2020 hardware can't run the game made in 2012.
Chicken, where the hardware had to catch up to the game they built. And unfortunately, before the hardware ever caught up, they lost the
mind share.
Battle. Exactly. The will of the people. The will of the people wanted them to revert to make it run better now. And so they had to put a lot of the resources that could have been, let's do more lore, let's do more this, to making it run on the equipment of the time. And
to OMFG.
Exactly. You know,
like, I don't understand the people that have a big fucking problem. Like, this is the issue I have. These people that fucking complain about OMFG, it was desperately needed for the game. It was needed. Okay, so going out here and fucking poo-pooing that whole thing because I didn't get any new guns or blah blah blah. Like, the content mongoloids in PlanetSide 2 always miss the bigger picture.
Higby even mentioned that it was a gut punch, that they had to stop everything they were doing and do OMFG because there was the whole team, right? Zoe was left in a bad state, right? They couldn't even do balanced stuff because they were doing this overhaul. And, it was demanded by the community. Smed saw the outcry and he responded to the outcry. But I do think
it's what they needed to do, just flat out.
I think it handicapped their ability to sort of fill out some of those other elements. You know?
And one of the arguments too is that a lot of those
and the next things they did after that was construction and fucking PlanetSide 2 on PlayStation 4. So it wasn't like anything real cool was coming. It was just all fucking downhill from there. So let's not pretend like we missed out on some magical development that was supposed to happen. We did it.
Optimizations were eroded away over the years anyway.
Well, and that's the tough part about it. That brought us better multi-threading capability. It did a lot for the game, for sure, no doubt. Some people would, no offense to PlanetSide or PlayStation 4 players, OMFG is the only reason they were able to do the port.
Yeah.
Which was a massive mistake in and of itself.
Did so many performance things, so I think some PC players will be like, man, not only did it slow down the development there, then they also, the next 10 months of development were a port. So it really handicapped their ability to bring content to PC.
But they were like contractually obligated to make the port, so, I mean,
through those two different cycles, all to get some performance.
can't fix numbers on Zoe. Yeah, I never buy that. I don't buy that fucking excuse. Like, you can't fucking change a number on, like, even when we were talking about Rel and his small fucking team earlier, like, you guys can't change number. They're just fucking
feels
clueless.
like it was out the window not far later.
Answer the phone.
Yeah, that's a rough one. And I think that, you know, I was looking at the, I'm not sure how accurate Steam charts is, but I was watching some of the player trends for PlanetSide 2 historically. And I noticed that OMFG, that one of the questions I asked myself when Outfit Wars was leading up was, what does PlanetSide have to do to have a permanent increase in players?
Get a new developer.
Because if you look at the player trends for all the major releases that have happened over the years, Hawson, Construction, OMFG, Implants, even DX11, all the humps in participation we got always normalized back to the same level or lower than they were before. I haven't looked at the charts for post Bastion, but
That's convenient.
I haven't really felt the need to, because I kind of feel like we haven't had a lull.
What the fuck are you talking about? What, like, of course it's convenient that you would not look at the fucking, like, within 60 days it was already dropping off. Like, what do you mean, man? Like, when was this fucking done? This was done in July. Like, this shit was already, I tweet about this shit every fucking day. Up until that point.
Like, we haven't had a major period of, oh, we're back into stable.
Like, what do you mean, bro? Like, within 60 fucking... I have a Reddit post that I posted within 60 fucking days. I'm like, hey, guys, it's happening again. Where are all the shit eaters coming out to defend this bullshit? What are you talking about, man?
PlanetSide time now, where nothing changes and we just have to sit on our thumbs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a new phase, it feels like.
Absolutely. I mean, major...
It is not a new phase. Like, this is the shit that is... It just kills me. Like, the fucking numbers are right there. Like, you don't even have to use Steam charts. Like, it's obvious when you just log into the game.
Credit to the cyclical nature of Outfit Wars and that they were able to get the Colossus out. We've certainly... I do feel like we're in a little bit of a valley.
Like, am I in some fucking parallel dimension from these people? Like, what the fuck?
But you're right, it's not as steep a fall off as some of those other patches brought.
Yes, it is.
We were able to sort of keep flatten that curve out a little bit.
Word.
To use a word of the times, right? Flatten the curve. So
right. Okay. Well, you know, speaking of the times, I think that we could go on and talk about PlanetSide for hours. I know I could anyway. But maybe we should hit on one or two non-PlanetSide things before we call it a night.
Fuck, you barely talked about PlanetSide.
So you talking about flattening the curve, that of course calls back to the pandemic, COVID. People are watching this in the future. Everyone's sick or deathly afraid of being sick right now. And I'm sure you were there for it. So how have you seen this lockdown affect your community, affect the way that you engage with games?
Yeah, and it's interesting. I touched on it a little bit earlier, but man, if you guys watch the charts, the streaming amount, it has just skyrocketed. I think everyone that's been part of watching streams, playing games, knows that it's there. But obviously, more people are going to be going to that to find a sense of community when you cannot access your local community. So I think right there, it's kind of a lifesaver. Imagine isolating for 6 months when there wasn't any form of contact. Like we couldn't contact the outside world as easy as we do now. You know,
my life barely fucking changed at all, to be honest.
So it's definitely enables that. For me, I feel like the
only thing that really changed for me is I'm someone that goes to the movies all the time, and I haven't been to a fucking movie in 8 months. Like, the last movie I saw was 1917 on, like, February 4th or some shit. Like, I can't wait for movies theaters to open back up, dude.
I haven't been able to capitalize on it as much, but I think it will permanently change the landscape of entertainment, for sure. People are going to, obviously, as the generation that's been part of it grows up, more and more people, when they're older, they will not follow traditional media.
Yeah, my theaters aren't open
media
yet.
Like this. But the pandemic,
me and Leroy can't go to the
hasten
fucking
that
movies,
shift.
man.
That's already inevitable, but it will just massively shove that shift forward.
I think
so. I don't know. Interesting stuff to watch.
Twitch check the fucking the damn
viewership hours.
Cinemark site again.
Lockdown really hit. So.
Oh, really? I didn't know it was that much.
Going to fucking
stunning
Virginia.
numbers. Yeah, if you pull up the Streamlab blog at some point,
you know, it would be really easy.
It is stunning numbers how much it skyrocketed.
That's remarkable. You know, do you think this is like an entirely like new kind of phase change we're going through, or this is just kind of like an acceleration of something that was going to happen over time anyway?
Yeah, I think it's more of the latter. I think there's always going to be a place for traditional media, but I think it's one of those things where the star, as we're seeing, the stars will get bigger and bigger paychecks that compete or are better than the paychecks that you might get in traditional media. It will be, for a while, it's kind of like, streaming gaming was the redheaded stepchild behind regular sportscasting or behind Hollywood, and very soon it'll be like, well, this is just one of the options, not the lesser option. It's just like, hey, do you want to watch a live Overwatch cast or do you want to watch a hockey game?
I watch hockey 99 out of 99 fucking times. I would never ever watch an Overwatch, anything esport Overwatch related, ever.
Will definitely shift towards that, where it's just one of the things you can choose.
I imagine I'm preaching to the choir when I say this, but the suspicion that I have is that, I mean, I think already from a revenue perspective, video games are the ascendant art form of the world. And I think
How profound a statement.
over time, as
So
a
profound.
generational shift, that'll be more culturally recognized.
Yes.
I don't see any other future other than the one where the world of gaming becomes broader and broader and has more and more little niches for people to plug into, and where it doesn't just take over everything. Like if you watch there's some great interview content that came out around Half-Life Alyx, the new VR Half-Life game from Valve a few months ago. And Gabe Newell.
Do people really give a shit about VR, and Half-Life games, man? Like, did I just miss the boat on that shit? Like, I honestly could not give a fuck about Half-Life or VR. Like, the fuck.
Well, praise Gabe, is talking about brain-computer interfaces, and anyone who's not looking at that is sleeping on the future of technology.
Wow.
Matrix kind of stuff. And when you think about what kind of art form can be transformed by that medium, it's not painting.
Don't do that.
It's not really movies. It's video
Don't
games.
combine those two emotes, please.
For sure.
And we've seen it already be transformed by the global availability of broadband, which has allowed a thing like Twitch to occur, to your point.
Yeah.
I don't see any other way that it could go. And a big part of the reason why I decided to commit to doing this content, because I, like you have a day job, and I do this when I come home at the end of the day, or at least I used to come home when I turn off my work laptop at the end of the day. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Is because you and I, Commander, Kami, Rel, Yamix, everyone else who's watching this is at the start of something that is going to shape the lives of everyone as we continue on into the future. Yeah.
That's a really heavy but super accurate way to look at it. Yeah, I can't say I stopped to think about it that much, but that's really
Wait, did he say Mukas?
very accurate. Especially with the coronavirus, people are forced to find their communities online, but they already were before, right? We're fortunate to be in a position where you're not stuck with what's right next door, right? Mm-hmm. What if right next door has completely different values, or is mean, or whatever reason it doesn't quite work. Mm-hmm. It's a beauty that you can go out and everyone can find
from Turok, dude.
Something that they can be part of, that we're right, that has similar interests. And it's kind of funny on the topic. It allows people that have dangerous sort of inclinations to find more of that. And some people kind of demonize the online world for that. But it's not a fault that people can connect online, that there are going to be dangerous people out there, right? It's people
Stranger
can find that no matter what.
Yeah.
I think it's important we look at every time you see that the millions, the massively outweighing percentage of groups, communities, gatherings, small little outfits that find experiences every night, every day because of this.
Dude, Mukas is Thanos. He already is constructing the fucking Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Cyrious, I can't think of a better note than that to end it on. How about you?
I think that's absolutely perfect. Now that we've definitely solved all the problems of the world, we might as well just stop there. So,
great job, brother. Hearty handshake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
thanks so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate you. What you're doing here is awesome, and just keep it up. Best of luck to you.
I imagine that Cyrious's neck hurts after this interview. Like, he just spent 2 hours and 10 minutes like this. Like, why?
So my absolute pleasure, and right back at you. I'll be looking forward to
Stop.
many more Cyrious streams to come.
Right on, man. Yeah, I'm going to keep them coming. Yeah, next outfit war season is going to be epic, guys.
Looking forward to
Yeah, it's gonna be epic.
Just you wait. So.
All right. For those of y'all who are out there watching us live, thanks for being here. And for those of y'all watching us after the fact, yeah, thanks for checking us out. I'm Deeg. That's Commander Cyrious. He kicks ass, and he wants to tell you what's great about PlanetSide. Go to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/cmdrcyrous. Did I get that right?
You did. You nailed it.
Nice. Same thing on, where else are you?
I'm that everywhere. You can find me on Insta, Periscope, Twitter, Trovo,
Insta.
DLive. You name it. Pick your platform, and that's
TikTok.
Me,
Go find him.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Have a great night.
Grinder.
I've been Deeg. I have a little community too. You can hit exclamation Discord in the chat to find us, or check us out on YouTube. Search for Deeg. Thanks, y'all. Good
Deegan,
night.
can I prod
Yeah.
you right as the end here, since we're signing off? You did such a great job
Look
with
at this
the run
cocksucker
version.
at the end. Look at this cocksucker at the end. He waits to the very end of the stream. Hey guys, notice me. I'm here. Fucking egomaniac, bro.
Can I hear one of your endings
Oh,
that mimics Commander Sirius at the end?
oh, you want me to repeat it? Say
I
it
want to
again?
hear. I want to hear.
You
from
want to hear
because
re-rendition?
I know we're gonna see you. No, I know we're gonna see you PlanetSide, and I just want to hear your rendition of that.
I will do another rendition. Okay.
Okay.
Ahem. Big Grug wake up on Araxis with Big Club. Big Grug smash Little Grug with Big Club. Doing this, Big Grug gets big KDR, big KPM. Big Grug likes smashing Little Grug. Big Grug shares with all his friends how quickly he can smash Little Grug. Big Grug feels good about themselves. But Little Grugs find a solution. If Little Grugs stick together, work as team, Big Grugs can't smash them very well. This makes Big Grugs sad. Big Grugs want Little Grugs to spread out so they can smash them better. Big Grugs make fun of Little Grugs for being together. And Commander Grug comes along and says, smashing Little Grugs no make you Big Grug. Smashing other Big Grugs only what make you Big Grug. Big Grugs get mad. They say Commander Grug only says that because he can't smash Little Grugs fast. So, they challenge Commander Grug to go smash Little Grugs even faster than average Big Grug smash them. And then, when he does that, there's deafening silence. And they delete their comments and we're left right here.
Awesome. Thanks a bunch, Dig. I'll see you PlanetSide, man.
Take care, brother. Thanks, y'all.
All right, that's the stream, boys. I've got 2 hours until a fucking guild meeting to go over AQ40 preparation tomorrow night. I will be back tomorrow night to do AQ40 bug killing time. Goodbye. See you later. Have a nice night.